Each match is played by two teams of 11 players. Some are batters, some are bowlers, and there's one wicket-keeper. Both teams have a chance to bat and bowl. Look out for the coin toss. That's how they decide which team bats or bowls first. Each team has 20 overs to score as many runs as possible. The team with the most runs wins the game. 1 over is made up of 6 good deliveries from the bowler. To score runs, batters hit the ball and run between the stumps. If the ball reaches the boundary, it's 4. Each match is played by two teams of 11 players. Some are batters, some are bowlers, and there's one wicket-keeper. Both teams have a chance to bat and bowl. Look out for the coin toss. That's how they decide which team bats or bowls first. Each team has 20 overs to score as many runs as possible. The team with the most runs wins the game. 1 over is made up of 6 good deliveries from the bowler. To score runs, batters hit the ball and run between the stumps. If the ball reaches the boundary, it's 4 runs, and if it gets there without bouncing, that's a 6. While the batting team is scoring runs, the bowling team are trying to stop them and get the batters out by taking wickets. A few ways batters can be out are bowled, caught, run out, stumped, and LBW. Watch out for signals from the umpires, 4s, 6s, wickets, and these when a bad delivery has been bowled. Bad deliveries add runs to the batting team's score, and the bowler must bowl an extra ball. If you see the umpire doing this, the next ball is a free hit, and the batter cannot be out, bowled, caught, LBW, or stumped. And those are all the basics you need to know to get behind your team in this year's Vitality Blast competition.
Go and enjoy yourself.
At the stumps.
Yeah! Let's go!
We're in business, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God.
We're at the training ground today ahead of the Sporting Capital Takeover, celebrating Leicester's excellence in sport, and we're going to combine football. Go and enjoy yourself.
At the stumps.
Yeah! Let's go!
We're in business, ladies and gentlemen.
Go and enjoy yourself.
At the stumps.
Yeah! Let's go! We're in business, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God.
We're at the training ground today ahead of the sporting capital takeover, celebrating Leicester's excellence in sport, and we're going to combine football and cricket as the Foxes go head to head. Okay, challenge number 1 is our touch and throw challenge. Now this is going to be a relay challenge between the teams. You're going to have 90 seconds and you need to try and receive a football, touch it inside the quadrant that we have for you. If you do that successfully, you will then be fed a cricket ball and you're going to need to throw that at the stumps. You'll get 5 points if you hit the stumps. 90 seconds on a relay to try and get as many points as possible. Let's do it. Right, 90 seconds on the clock for Louis and Connor. Go.
I'm on, Luke.
Delivery's got to control it in the box. Does that very well, which means he can now receive a ball to throw at the stumps.
Oh, yeah!
It's not bad, is it? Oh. Oh.
Yeah, love that.
Stays in, good stuff. Harry, is your technique going to be just, what, standing on the ball? Or?
I'm going to use 2 touches, yeah.
Oh, double touch?
Yeah, double touch.
The old double touch.
Oh, well, it's in. It's in, you're all right. Come on.
Oh,
look at my, he hit it.
Ben, how's your throwing? You don't take throw-ins, do you?
Yeah, no. It's a different kind of technique as well, isn't it?
It is different. I'll give you that. Connor Cody at the stumps.
Posting out.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Decent touch. Get the ball. 5 of the stumps.
Oh,
Mate,
that ball!
Don't send that one to the coaches.
Mate, the tape! Slipped.
Terrible. Here it is. Slipped out the hand, yeah. Oh! That's 5 points for Connor Cody and 0 for the professional cricketer.
Look at my mate here. Louis, you're flying, mate.
Oh, a bit more like it, but didn't hit the stumps. Decent touch on him, this Connor Cody kid.
They've done well here.
How long we got left on timer?
Love it, love it, love it.
Okay, 10 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
Can we get one more hit of the stumps? Oh, it's outside the area. No, it's got to go again. He's got to go again. Come back. You got to go again. One more, last one. No, this is the last one for Connor. Let's see how he gets on. Come on, shot the stumps.
Come on, stumped.
Oh. All right, 90 seconds on the clock for Harry and for Ben. Go.
Hang on a minute. Oh, no. What was that?
Yep.
What was that?
The feed was fairly easy, but anyway.
No.
Brindles, though, misses the stumps.
Yeah.
And Nelson with the touch. That was a much more difficult feed. But you'd expect that. He is a professional footballer.
Oh! He's in trouble.
No, what? How many touches?
Yeah, that was pushing the boundaries there from Harry Swindles.
No.
They're
in trouble here. They're in trouble.
Where are you putting it? We could be in it.
Throw it! Why are you not throwing it? No. He knows. He knows. That's an honest man right there.
Got to control it inside the area, and he does it this time.
Put it on my head.
Look at the intensity. It attacks that ball.
Intense.
No.
That hit.
Bounced over. Oh, didn't it?
Won't say anything about that ball being outside the box. Oh, that's more like
two.
it.
See how we threw that though? It was so safe.
He's put it out of the box anyway.
Shambles are feeds.
He's feed.
20 seconds remaining.
Oh, find it!
Fumble.
That's fine though. Hits the stumps.
2.
3.
2. The first one bounced over.
Okay, 10 seconds remaining. Hit the stumps.
No, Ben.
Here we go.
It's a game of fine margins. Harry Swindles for the stumps.
No.
That was a long 10 seconds.
5.
Trouble.
4.
Watch the windows.
3.
Watch the windows.
2. 1. Time is up. Stop feeding, stop throwing. Let's tally up the scores. Right, that is touch and throw done and dusted. The stalwarts hit the stumps 3 times, so 15 points. Just the 2 for you, graduates, I'm afraid. So 15-10 with 1 challenge remaining. Okay, time for our second challenge. It is the football challenge. It's our old friend, the crossbar challenge. 3 attempts each to hit the crossbar, 1 from the 18-yard box, 1 from the edge of the D, and 1 from the white cone. You will receive more points the further you are away from the goal. I think the professional footballers should probably go first. Right, Connor Cody is up from the 18-yard box. 3, 2, 1, and we're underway. Ooh, not far off. Okay, edge of the tee. I'm going to say that was actually lower. Right, white cone.
Bit of juice behind this one.
Bit of juice behind this one, says Ben Nelson. Steps up. Oh, it's not bad.
That's nailed it.
Oh, it's kidding me.
Bad, but just not quite good.
Kidding me.
Right, next up, Ben Nelson. Straight away.
Come on, Nels.
5'7" doesn't really help being a goalkeeper.
Put your foot through it.
Right, Ben Nelson, from the 18-yard box, in your own time.
He took a deep breath. What? Ronaldo?
Yes.
Oh, that is the crossbar.
Come on, partner.
That is 1 from 1.
2 out of 2.
Oh, that's 2 from 2.
Go on, partner.
For 3 from 3.
Yeah.
Go on.
So good.
Come on.
Does he do that all the time?
I never expected that. Well done, mate. Well done. Good play.
Okay, right. Now time for the cricketers. This could be interesting, right? Louis Kimber, you're up. Now, I'll level with you, there were a lot of penalties being taken in the warm-up by the Leicestershire Foxes lads.
I don't know where it's come from.
They weren't great. Just see there's one ball there, actually in the, lodged in the wall.
When
Not
are we in?
great.
I might do the old deep breath technique.
Right,
Yeah,
Louis Kimber.
it helped him.
Hey,
Deep breath technique.
calm yourself
From
down.
the 18-yard box. Go for it. Steps up to the plate.
Here he is.
Yes!
It's a crossbar.
Let's
We're
go!
on. We're in
Because I'm
business,
that.
ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God.
Oh my
God, there's that skin there.
I think I heard it.
Missed right from the white cone.
No, Louis, that's so
I
bad.
tell you what, 2 out of 3. Well
Side
done.
bar.
Hey, the attacker's on
2
that
out of
as
3. That was 2.
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. We'll get a zoom on it.
Yeah, zoom.
I was actually told off camera that Louis Kimber is the best footballer in the Leicestershire Foxes lineup. Harry Swindles claims that he is the best footballer. So let's see.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah. Not great.
Thinks he's at the
Okay.
Tigers.
Edge of the D.
No!
Okay,
Another
a
3
little
points.
less
Get a
height
bit behind
on
us,
this
David.
lady. From the white cone. Here we go. Steps up to the
tell you
plate. That
what.
looks good.
Hey, it's not a bad
Dips
effort.
just above
Not a
the
bad effort.
crossbar.
Well played.
0 from
Well
3.
done. Well done.
Well played, fellas. Really good. Well done.
Okay,
you.
okay.
I know.
Thank you.
Best I've ever seen
Handshakes all
before.
around.
that.
This is nice. Very sporty.
Jesus.
Right, should we get some scores on the doors? Now, ahead of the crossbar challenge, it was Connor and Louis leading the way, but thanks mainly to, well, actually no, thanks fully to Ben Nelson and not remotely to Harry Swindles, they take the crossbar challenge and the overall challenge by 18 points to 16. So then it's victory for the graduates, and a reminder that the Sporting Capital takeover all takes place on the 31st of May. The Foxes taking on the Yorkshire Vikings in their opening game of the Vitality Blast. Come on down to the Uptonsteel.
that rut and couldn't win, were losing game after game. Durham will be desperate that they aren't the team doing that this year.
Yeah, and if you look through their team, there's no real explanation as to why this has happened. They've got a great couple of overseas players, people like Ashton Turner in the side, Callum Parkinson, who of course was so fantastic in that competition for so long. They've got a great team full of really good talent. Just hasn't worked for them so far. So I'm sure they will be pumped up. But I think you could probably hear, it was Alex Lees, wasn't it, at the toss. Just before we came on air, when he did the toss, I think you could hear the determination, mild frustration in his voice and performances so far. He wants to see better from his team.
Well, the umpires have made their way out onto the pitch, as have the Durham team and the Leicestershire openers of Rishi Patel and Sol Budinger. It's live T20 blast action here on BBC Radio Leicester. We'll keep you updated as well with the netball. Loughborough Lightning in action against London Pulse. They can bag themselves a home semi-final in the playoffs with a win tonight. Here at Grace Road, Leicestershire looking to make it 2 out of 3 so far in the competition. I'll hand to your commentary team for this one. You won't miss a ball with Richard Ray and Adam Whitty.
Thank you very much, Jack. Welcome to Grace Road. You can hear the Bhangra drummers in the background. Absolutely fabulous stuff, building the atmosphere at the Uptonsteel County Ground. The weather, pretty pleasant. It's been mild, I would say. There's a bit of blue sky above, high white clouds surrounding the sky with the sun just about poking through, and a healthy crowd for this 6:30 start. A reminder, by the way, we will leave you on FM at 7 o'clock for the leaders' debate, but if you want to continue listening to us, you can listen on BBC Sounds, the BBC Sport website now, and what's the other one? DAB. Did I say DAB already?
Possibly.
Let's hope so.
I can just hear the drums at the moment.
DAB, the BBC Sport website. Oh, and Freeview. There you go. 721. Thank you, Dale, back at base. So we are just about ready to get going. The opening bowler will be Matthew Potts. England
Durham
international,
and England.
of course.
Yeah, no, there's some serious players here. This is not going to be a walkover, I don't think.
So as the drums, I was just about to say fade, they're not fading as we get underway. The first ball from the pavilion end is on leg stump, and it's clipped away into the leg side by Rishi Patel. The opening pair stays the same. Leicestershire have stayed the same from their 2 victories. And my ears are ringing, but we're... there you go. The game sort of started with a bit of a delay. The first announcement of the opening bowler comes after the first ball.
Well, nobody could hear it themselves.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
The drums, they kept hammering away. Well done, boys.
Potts, big tall man.
Good sign that the ground staff have come out to watch at close quarters.
So Potts running away from us. Big bounding run up. He's up to the wicket now, outside off stump. Nice late cut from Budinger. That's running down towards a wide third-man boundary. It's fielded down there and then just take the single. So 2 for 1 off the opening 2 deliveries.
If you're not watching on the stream, Durham this year are clad in navy, but their shirts are navy and bright yellow halves. Think sort of Blackburn Rovers sort of style shirts in that respect. But it does mean that their numbers are almost completely illegible, doesn't it? You can sort of see half of them, but the white on the yellow is just blends into nothing.
It's a bit Rushton Diamonds. That's Potts. In now, bowls, and that's flicked away, leg stump line, and that's given the punishment it deserves. Poor ball from Potts, just got the wrong line, it was too straight, and it was flicked away off the hips of Rishi Patel for 4 runs, the first boundary of the day behind square on the leg side. And we are underway from a boundary perspective.
Glorious piece of timing.
We will go to the netball at the end of this over. Loughborough Lightning in action against London Pulse. In a huge game in the Super League. As Potts, brown hair, is up to the wicket, he bowls. 4th ball of the over is much better. Straight, nice bit of bounce on that. You can probably hear the sound of bat on ball from 30-40 metres away. Nice crisp sound off Rishi Patel's bat.
Pitch is a nice colour. I've worked hard on it since that game I mentioned against the Outlaws in the One Day Cup.
Green tinge to it, but largely hobnob coloured. As Potts bounds in once more. Penultimate ball of the over, straight, and Patel plays it to mid-on, and there is no run. Oh, that boundary just relaxes things, doesn't it? When you get a freebie like that, Patel doesn't need to hit out for the rest of the over. Of course, there's a power play, so 2 men out allowed in the deep. They are at third man, and deep square leg, although he's a little bit, he's come round a little bit from square position. As Potts glances to his right, the crowd hushed as Potts is in. Final ball of the over, and that's another poor length, and again Patel whips it round the corner for 4 runs. Poor line 2, but Patel managed to get his left leg across and whip it through. So that is the end of the over. Positive 1 for Leicestershire. They are 10 for no loss. Let's get an update from the Sir David Wallace Arena, shall we? End of the first quarter between Loughborough Lightning and London Pulsar and Palmer Atkin.
Callum Parkinson, our old friend, is going to take up the attack from the Bennett end. Comes in and bowls to Budinger. He's bowling around the wicket to the left-hand, who works it back down the pitch to him.
Is that a boo?
It's ironic, I think.
I think, yeah.
I hope. And he trots and bowls, gives it some air, whipped away wristily by Budinger out towards deep mid-wicket. Parkinson's 2 men out are at mid-wicket and long on, to the left-hander that is. That shot Patel played, he stepped right across his stumps to Potts, telegraphed his intentions to Potts. Potts bowled straight and he just whipped it away as though it was a sort of leg side ball, but again a glorious piece of timing. Patel against Parkinson. Parkinson round the wicket, plays it down into the ground. Foolish outside off stump, bounces towards backward point. And there is no run.
Just tempted by that Patel, wasn't he? Just started to open his shoulders, but then calmed it.
Yeah, nobody out on the offside. So Patel gives himself room, steps back and crashes it through the offside. Just stepped across so he could free his arms and drove it away. Didn't actually put too much power into it. Made sure he got it through the covers. And once you'd done that, with nobody out there sweeping, just the 2 men out on the leg side, then it was going to be 4. Patel looking, whisper it in touch. Yet again, he has yet to fail to do that. This season, first-class cricket or white ball, he is into double figures. 13 off 7 for Rishi Patel. Remember, he got a century in T20 against Durham last season. Parkinson is in, drops a little bit short. Patel waits for it, turns it out towards mid-wicket. The throw comes in and hits Rishi Patel, who hops and... well, where did it hit him? Because it looked as though it hit him on the sort of, maybe the ankle, but hopefully he is okay. It was an unnecessary throw because he'd more than comfortably made his ground already. I'm not sure who that is at that sort of backward square position. Now at backward point for the left-handed Budinger.
I think
Parkinson
it's Turner.
Goes round and Budinger's going to pick up 4. It was a lucky edge. Well, it might not pick up 4. Ben Rain is going to cut it off, puts in the slide, Rainey, and picks up at the second attempt. And Budinger picks up 2. Parkinson's hands started to go into there. It would have been a catch for slip, but of course no slip. So Budinger 4 off 4, Patel 14 off 8, 2 overs done, 18 without loss. Decent start for the Foxes.
So I turned into an old man for a second there, Richard. Just tried to get up the stream on delay on my tablet in front of me, and the audio came out, and I panicked for some reason and forgot how to turn the volume down on a tablet. So that was where you probably heard a burst of an advertisement or something. 18 for no loss. Patel looks in decent nick, it has to be said, but they've given him a few freebies, haven't they, Durham? What was nice about that cover drive for 4 was that he was looking for the shot, looking for the gap. 18 for no loss then.
So important, the power play, isn't it?
So these 2 men are out in the deep. There's a wide third man and a deep square leg as there's a change in bowling. Coughlin is in and it's clipped to a mid-wicket that's quite close to the pitch.
Paul Coughlin has had some good performances here. I remember him in the 10-over game or 9-over game that we played once in the rain, picking up a load of wickets.
Crowd trundling in. It's not quite as busy as it was last Friday night. Yeah, the weather just isn't the best. This is the problem. It's still very mild for early June. As Coughlin runs away from us. He's up to the wicket. He bowls. That's hit high up in the air. Is it going to beat rain? It is. It's going to land over his head, and it's going to rain for a 3-bounce 4. Just about over his head. Sounded very woody off the bat, but he just about got enough timing on it and enough power and force on it to get it over the head and mid-off and race away for 4 runs. So Patel is in the mood, and the boundary's flowing at the moment. 22 for no loss, 2.2 overs.
It didn't plug. Sometimes it does slightly in those circumstances, but it sort of skidded on a bit away from a slightly surprised rain.
Coughlin, long brown hair, past the umpire now. He bowls, and Patel goes for this one. He's timed that one all right. 6 runs and a big 6-2 right into the crowd, probably about 6 or 7 rows back over long on. That's the big hit of the day. Patel's gone onto this pitch pretty damn quickly and rushes to 24. What a shot. That's the first big shot of the day, and it's got the maximum reward.
Glorious shot. He's played 4 beautiful shots, Rishi Patel, already.
24 for no loss. Coughlin, he's got a bit of an angled run up. He's up to the wicket now. Bowls. Patel goes for it again. Over the head it goes. 4 more. 1 bounce this time. Beautifully timed. Lovely arc of the blade. Straight down the pitch. And pretty much the same direction towards long on. And that comfortably raced away. How many have we got off the over so far, Richard? We've got 14 off it so far.
Started on 18, so yeah.
18 off it.
2 fours.
So Patel is 28 off 12. Budinger, a spectator like the rest of us at the moment at the other end. He's just 4 from 4.
Don't bowl length. It's the message, isn't it? But he keeps putting it there. Well, you keep putting it there. Rishi Patel will keep dispatching it.
22 on his back, Coughlin, as he runs in now up to the wicket, bowls, and this time Patel just calms it and clips it away into the leg side. They're going to go for 2. I think 2 probably was there, to be honest. Well, they certainly could have put the fielder under a little bit of pressure, so a single is taken. 29, the barrage stops. Of course, we haven't mentioned Patel. Last time we were here against Durham,
100, yeah.
104. Yeah. Glorious innings, probably the only sort of champagne moment of the whole season, wasn't it? I'd say Rishi Patel's 100 that day.
In the T20, it was certainly. It's filling up nicely.
Of course it was. Yes, sorry, I should have clarified that. It is season where they win a trophy.
Nice sort of Trent Bridge.
Final ball of the 3rd over then. Budinger on 4, left-handed. And Coughlin's up to the wicket, bowls. Oh, that's a horrible shot from Budinger. He's trying to heave that across the line, sort of trying to hook it from outside off stump. Doesn't get onto it, sort of bunts it to mid on, and there is no run. So 33 for no loss. Is that 17 off the end? 15 off it, sorry, Richard. So what a good start for Leicestershire. 33 for no loss. They are powering away at the start of this innings against what's been so far a little bit of a lacklustre Durham team, although here comes Ben Rain.
Well, he was hugely effective last season. Well, he's always hugely effective, Ben Rain, in first-class cricket. Slightly different in these circumstances, but it's going to be Parky again, who is in from the Bennett end. Swung up into the air. Is it going to land safe? It is going to land safe. Fortunate. Parky can't quite believe it. Callum, that is. Rishi Patel skied it up towards deep backward square. 2 fielders converged on it. Neither could quite get there. Patel picks up a couple into the 30s already. 31 off 14, 35 without loss.
Perfectly placed.
In the end, Parkinson is in again, making room. Patel and driving it in the air over extra cover, out to the extra cover boundary for 4 more. He is in the mood, Rishi Patel, and at the moment he's pretty much middling everything. That one that he just skied, 2 deep backward square, the first one that hasn't really come out of the middle, that one did, drilled through extra cover for 4 more. He moves on to 35. Callum is suffering at the moment. In he goes, bowls to Patel, who drives, but he just held it back a little bit, Parkinson, and Patel had to check the shot slightly, and it ran straight out towards mid-off. No run. Parkinson in, bowls, quicker, shorter, quick delivery, hit out to mid-wicket, and he's caught. Parkinson has his wicket, and he shouts at Patel in triumph. Well, again, he middled it, but he picked out the fielder at deep mid-wicket, absolutely straight to him, and Patel again, it doesn't flatter to deceive because he's a brilliant player and he played gloriously, but it would have been so good to see him go on for 8, 10 overs, go on to 60, 70. That's the sort of score which gets you off to a decent start, but it doesn't necessarily change the match. He goes for 35, 39 for one.
I was just going to say, and I was hesitant to say it because of the commentator's curse, but I was just going to say, when was the last time you saw someone really open up their arms, have a massive innings of really brutal hitting? I can't remember the last real time. Maybe Patel this time last year, perhaps, but even then that was more of a built innings. That was an innings that has got Leicestershire off to a rocketing start. But you're right, once you get to 35 off 16, you've got to push on. I'm sure that's what Rishi Patel would say himself. Fabulous innings, though. Some great shots in there, some great timing.
Peter Hanscom comes to the crease. The newly golden capped Peter Hanscom. Parkinson is into the Australian, who is reaching out, driving. Slightly wider delivery, but he made sure, as ever with Hanscom, that he kept it down, pushed it out towards wide-ish mid-off. Picks up 139, 40 for one. Hanscom off the mark. Budinger, who's barely faced the ball, 5 balls he's faced. Parkinson is in, Budinger waits, just steers it out into the covers. A little bit of movement required of Potts. He moves to his right, picks up and throws. Parkinson fields. End of what was ultimately, didn't start that way, but was ultimately a successful over for Callum Parkinson. 2 overs, 1 for 16 for our old friend. 41 for 1, Leicestershire after 4.
Yeah, Parkinson. 17 wickets for Leicestershire last season. He got over 100 T20 wickets for the Foxes, didn't he, in last season's competition? He was such a threat for them. He's such a loss for Leicestershire, both as a personality, also as offering that left arm spin. 5th over then. He's about to start. Peter Hanscom and Sol Budinger slightly strange. You've got 2 new batsmen in, basically, because Budinger's only faced 6 deliveries after that onslaught from Rishi Patel. BBC Radio Leicester live T20 Blast cricket between Leicestershire and Durham. The Foxes from their opening 2, 1-1 and lost 1. It's Potts back in. He's up to the wicket. He bowls. That's a lovely drive from Budinger. Crikey. Timed that to perfection. Just moved his front leg out the way to make room for it and crunched it, though, straight to deep cover. There is just a single added to the total. Budinger on to 6. Also bring you updates from the netball. Loughborough Lightning's game against London Pulse. Home semi-final up for grabs for Lightning. They did really well in the first quarter. 21-14 I think it was. We'll bring you the latest at the end of the second quarter. Potts 10 from his first over. Stands at the pavilion end, running away from us now. He skips in up to the wicket, bowls and just holds back the pace there, and so Hanscom plays it neatly into the onside where there is no run. Hanscom, of course, off the back of 75 off 51 against Derbyshire. 9 fours and a 6. It was an innings that basically gave Leicestershire hope, along with Rahan Ahmed. Sadly, the fielding didn't quite match up to that endeavour. Potts up to the wicket now. He bowls. Oh, that's a good delivery. I think that was a slower ball and rose a bit on Pete Hanscom. And he wasn't comfortable with it. I don't know whether that hit sort of his thigh. Didn't go very far anyway. Barely bounced off the pitch. No run. 42 for 1. The score remains 4.3 overs.
Dare I say it, yet to be dismissed in this competition this season, Peter Hanscom. Next ball.
He will have over 100 runs, I think, won't he now? Something like that.
16 not out in the first.
Just 16.
Yeah.
So he's on 91. Or now 92 as he's 1 not out. Potts in again. He bowls. Hanscom tries to just play that late fine on the offside. He gets no run as it's fielded.
Yeah, I mentioned the gold cap for Durham listeners watching on the stream. Leicestershire have 2 kinds of cap. The red fox, which adorns your cap when you get into the first team, but then if you're an international, usually if you're an international or of long-serving merit, the fox turns gold.
Potts in, bowls, and it's clipped into the leg side by Hanscom. Again, no run. Have we had only a single off this over so far? I think we have, haven't we?
Yes, 41 for 1 at the end of the Parkies, so 4 balls for just 1 run for England's Matthew Potts. He'll be hoping for for this coming summer to be a big part of England's plans.
Yeah, 6 tests, 4 one-days for England. Last in late 2023. Juts his elbows out as he gets set up ahead of speed. It's a slower ball which Hanscom clips into the leg side. They're going to go for 2. They're going to test the arm. No. Budden just sends Hanscom back. So that's the end of the over. Just 2 off it. Good recovery from Potts. And that's a weak over from a power play perspective, considering you've got most of the fielders in. Again, if you're not a massive cricket fan, you can only have 2 men out on the boundary during the power play. And so you've got more hope and more chances of scoring boundaries, and when you only get 2 singles off an over, that's not the best. So 43 for 1, 5 overs gone, that run rate at 8.6, but Patel's big hitting in the opening overs has allowed them a little bit of breathing space.
So Coughlan, who went for 15 from his first over, is going to try his luck from t'other end, the Bennett end. Comes in, bowls to Hanscom, who picks him up nicely over mid-wicket, and it's going to run out to that mid-wicket boundary alongside Milligan Road out there for 4. Beautifully picked up by Hanscom. Really nice shot by the Australian, who has been in the sort of form for Leicestershire in first-class cricket that David Beddingham, well, perhaps not quite as good as Beddingham's astonishing form, really, but it has been in for Durham. But Hanscom has been brilliant for the Foxes in first-class cricket, just as I say, Beddingham has been for Durham. Beddingham back into the Durham side tonight at the expense of former Leicestershire player Colin Ackerman. Well, seeing that shot, going to be a change in the field. Mid-wicket is going to go out. Big gap there now. Both men out on the leg side as in goes Coughlan and bowls. Just drags his length back a bit. Even so, Hanscom goes forward, and his sort of half drive is in the air for quite a long time as it goes in towards the covers, but diving to his left, extra cover makes the stop. As I say, the numbers are practically illegible on that Durham kit. They're really hard to see. Starting to get to know them, but maybe it's me.
No, they are.
You can sort of see half the numbers if they're in double figures. In goes Coughlan, bowls, beautifully cut away by Hanscom for 4. Just step back, he banged it in, Coughlan, but he's not that quick, really, relatively speaking, and just waited for it and guided it beautifully. Perfect piece of timing from Hanscom, and he is already now into double figures on 210.
There we go.
Thank you, guys. It's down below us by one of our effects mics, so, well, I don't think they get tied arms. They're big boys, those Bangor boys. In goes Coughlan and bowls Hanscom. It's a little bit squared up by that one. Well bowled. Coughlan might just have held it back a touch. Had to wait for it and rather shoveled it out into the offside in the end. 10 off 10 for Hanscom. 50 up for the Foxes with that 4 off the previous delivery. Beautifully played again. 2 balls left of the power play. 51 for 1. I'm not sure still that the ball is coming on quite as much as the batters might have hoped. Coughlan is in, down the wicket, and he's going to be caught. He is caught, Hanscom. He went for the drive. Well, he has been dismissed now. He went through with the shot, thinking perhaps with these 2 balls left in the power play, had to do so. Mid-off dive to his left and took actually in the end what was a reasonably comfortable catch. Actually, although the ball was heading down, obviously, but never really got off the ground, and well held nonetheless. And Hanscom's fine run in this competition comes to an abrupt end. He goes caught off Coughlan for 10. 51 for 2 Leicestershire with 1 ball left in the power play. A bit more balance now.
Yes, absolutely. It's so difficult. It's just difficult to play that shot, particularly if you're going to play it aerially. That angle is so narrow when cover comes in close to the wicket and you've got a mid-on to try and get it past the 2 of them is so difficult. And even though it was perfectly timed, lovely arc of the bat, went straight to the fielder really, and as you say, comfortable catch. And at 51 for 2, the complexion changes slightly.
Ashton Turner, the catcher.
Started so fantastically, Leicestershire. I wonder what they were after 3 overs. It would have been 40 something, I think, wouldn't it?
33 without loss.
33 without loss. 41 off 4.
Coughlan is in, bowls to Louis Kimber, who's forward but carefully pushing the ball out into the covers. Fielded out there by Turner, and that is the end of the power play. Well, 51 for 2. I think that's reasonably balanced. If you're 3 wickets down, you're in a bit of trouble. You don't want to lose 3 in the power play. They haven't done that, the Foxes. However, 51 for 2, I think Durham will be reasonably satisfied with that as well.
Ben Rain is back. I thought he was going to bowl a few overs ago, but he didn't bowl an over, did he?
He didn't, no.
He had his cap off, though, didn't he, at one stage? I can tell it's him, because much like me, he is follically challenged, so I was ready for him. Former Leicestershire player. We were expecting 3 former Foxes in the team today. It's just 2, but Rain will bowl. Right arm over. He's coming round the wicket to the left-handed Budinger. He's in, and again, Budinger sort of plays a baseball shot down the ground towards Matthew Potts, who's fielding in the deep at long on, and there was a single added to the total.
So after 36 balls, Budinger faced just 6, now faced 7.
Which is very. I mean, he scored a 50. He dominated the strike, didn't he, in the first game against Yorkshire, where he got a 50. As Rain, 45 on his back, now comes over the wicket to the right-handed Kimber, tosses this one up, tempts him. That was a slow tempter, one of those ones that's going to make your eyes light up. Kimber far too mature to go for that, and so there is no run. He just plays it straight back to Rain. 52 for 2.
He's worked out this pitch, Rain. I think he knows it very well, of course. Take the pace off it.
As Rain turns, broad-shouldered, runs away from us, bowls, back goes Kimber. That was a good length from Rain, and he pushes it back. Nice sound off the bat, and he'll get a single down towards long on. It's fielded by, I presume, is that Hayden Mustard down there? He's the only number that I don't have written down at 50 something, so 52, so it is Hayden Mustard. Son of Phil, if you're a Leicestershire fan, you were wondering if that could be too big a coincidence. It isn't. Rain. It is. Ball in his right hand. He's now going to again go round the wicket. Oh, that's a poor delivery. Too straight and whipped away. Lovely flick of the wrist from Budinger, who got onto that very smartly indeed, and that was a 1 bounce 4. Fine on the leg side, right over the infield. Rain for the first time straying in this over, and he is punished for it.
It was a poor ball by Rainey's standards, but beautifully picked up by Budinger. Wonderful piece of timing again.
He's got very nice wrists, actually, Budinger, hasn't he? Very flexible wrists. Use it to just get that extra bit of timing. He's so unhappy with that Rain, and he's going to come over the wicket instead. He's up to the wicket. He bowls slower, delivering a bouncer, which is whipped away, crunched, hooked down towards deep mid wicket, where a single is taken. That was too good a shot for a single, really. 58 for 2, final ball of the 7th over. Go to the netball very shortly. It's half time at the Sir David Wallace Arena as Rain picks up the ball to bowl his final delivery. There's 3 men out on the offside, 2 men out on the leg as Rain comes into the right-handed Kimber, who goes back, plays it to Rain, who well, he was falling, and it was played straight back to him, and he's sort of like a goalkeeper, desperately trying to save a penalty, tries to tip it over the bar. End of the over, 58 for 2. Let's go to Loughborough and get the half-time score in the Super League. Owen Parber-Atkin.
We'll be doing our scatter last phone t-shirts in the following stands: the Uptonsteel stand, the Venomous stand, and the Gallagher stand. At the end of the 8th over, the scatter blast.
Nathan Souter to take up the attack for Durham from the Bennett end. In goes the leg spinner, back goes Budinger, tries to sort of chop it away through the offside, doesn't get anything on it, taken behind the stumps. There is no run. Souter very, very effective in this form of the game. Tosses that one up, driven for 4 by Budinger, over-pitched on that occasion, Nathan Souter, and Budinger again sort of opened his shoulder, cleared his front leg and cracked it away through the offside very powerfully indeed. Getting a little bit more of the strike now and making the most of it is Sol Budinger. He moves on to 16 off 12, 62 for 2.
That's a lovely shot, possibly my favourite of his today. Beautifully timed, he's timed it very nicely, Budinger.
24 T20 wickets last season for Souter as Budinger goes back to that one just outside off stump and cuts it away through the offside. It is fairly close to off stump, doesn't quite get the weight into the shot he would have liked. The sweeper out there, Matthew Potts, fields, and just the one is taken. Budinger on to 17.
24 wickets last year, wasn't it, for Souter? He's been regularly the top wicket taker for Durham.
In he comes and bowls, full toss, reaches Kimber on the full. He doesn't try and overhit it, just clips it out too deep mid-wicket. Potts is the fielder. One is taken. In as much as T20 ever does have a quiet period, this might be it. In that Leicester will look to work it around a little bit. Souter goes in. Well, the square's up Budinger. That might have been the wrong one. Budinger pushed it a little uncertainly out through very straight mid-off. Mid-off is back on the boundary, so just the one taken. Moves on to 18, 65 for 2. That much more cover now for Souter. 4 men out on the ropes as he goes in and bowls. Oh, how did that miss everything? But it has missed everything. A huge mow from Kimber. He missed it. Somehow it missed the stump. Somehow the keeper wasn't able to take it. I've no idea how that missed everything. Nobody can quite believe that. And it's gone for 4 byes. That is quite incredible.
Yeah.
How did that not hit?
Missed everything by a complete whisker. I thought he was bowled straight up there. But in the end, Leicestershire got away with one. It was a complete slog sweep from Kimber. And I honestly cannot tell you how that hasn't clattered into the stumps.
Astonishing. 69 for 2 at the end of the over. So in the end, slightly fortuitously in parts, Leicestershire took 11 from that first Souter over.
Well, they've still kept up half-decent run rate, it has to be said. Going at 8.5 and over. As Rain continues from the pavilion end. His first ball is down the leg side and it's pulled round the corner for 4. Another poor ball from Rain, very surprising from him, normally such a consistent campaigner, but that was slow, too short and too straight and pulled for 4.
He has struggled a couple of times on his when he returns to Grace Road, curiously, Ben Rain. As you say, so consistent otherwise, but just sometimes on here, maybe the memories getting to him.
Now you've got a choice of listening now on BBC Radio Leicester as Rain runs away from us up to the wicket. He bowls, and again that's too straight, and it's pushed into the leg side. They're going to look for 2 here, Budinger, and yes they are, and they'll get it comfortably. So if you want to listen to the cricket and carry on listening to the cricket, DAB, BBC Sounds, BBC Sport website and app is the place to go. If you're listening on FM or you want to listen to the leadership debate hosted by the BBC tonight, then please do head over to FM, or you can watch that of course across BBC TV and radio. But we will leave you on BBC Radio Leicester as Ben Rain runs in for the final ball. See if we can get it before the clock turns to 7. Rain comes in, it's clipped on the leg side by Budinger for a single. Goodbye. So Budinger then moves on to 24 as a result of the single. He gets into the leg side. And there's that run rate moving up towards 9 now. As Rain looks around at his field, he's got 2 men. Oh no, sorry, that's one of them's the umpire. So he's got 3 men close behind square. As he comes in, bowls. That's another horrible ball, but he might get a wicket from it. Dearie me! Oh. He just threw it down into the pitch, a slower bouncer, and it's been pulled round the corner by Kimber, straight to the man at deep square leg. Rain didn't even celebrate because he was a little bit embarrassed by that. And Kimber has to go. 76 for 3.
Absolute gift, I'm afraid. Louis Kimber. It was like giving catching practice, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
It didn't ever look like clearing him. Ashton Turner out there again, and a much simpler catch for him than the previous one of Peter Hanscom, and disappointing for Louis Kimber. Really disappointing.
It was just such a poor ball, and I understand also why he just tried to turn it round the corner, but he just needed to have a bit more of a push behind it, I guess. That's such a shame. He'll be disappointed with that, Kimber. He goes for 2, so 76 for 3, and again, we always talk about that pendulum in T20 cricket that has brought it back towards Durham after a nice little settled period for Leicestershire. Buttinger's still there on 25, but it'll be Vian Mulder, the next man in.
Yep, absolute long hop, but there you go. Sometimes you don't get wickets with very good balls. As Nathan Salter did, in the last over. He bowled a beauty, didn't he, that missed everything. Ben Rain bowls a long hop and picks up a wicket.
I was going to say there's a more sharp and more succinct version of that, Richard, but I'm not sure we can. Well, we definitely can't say it. That's Rain running away from us now. Past the umpire, he bowls, and again that's short, but it's straight. So Mulder, on his first delivery, just plays it into the onside where there is no runs. The run rate around 8.6. That's our old stat as well, but we're well past the power play now. This is the final ball, the 9th over. They've lost. You always want to avoid losing 3 wickets in the power play, and they've lost it in the 9th over. They're still well on target for 170, 180, aren't they, with this score?
That would be a good score on this, I'm sure it would. So, they've just got to be a little bit careful.
They need someone to back up Patel's innings. Rain is in, he's up to the wicket, he bowls, and it's a straight delivery on an off-stump line, and Mulder, with a nice bit of timing, plays it back to Rain. So in the end, mixed fortunes there for Ben Rain. It's some dross, some wickets as well, and some decent bowling too when he held back his pace a little bit. 76 for 3. There was 7 off the over there, Richard.
Off it, yeah.
So Leicestershire still on top, I would suggest, against a struggling Durham in the T20 Blast, and they're looking for their second win at their 3rd attempt.
So Buttinger will be on strike to the Australian, Sauter. Stands very still before coming in and bowling. Buttinger, again, touch squared up, looking, I think, to work it on the onside, ends up pushing it out towards long off and taking 1. Buttinger in his first innings in the competition, 50 off 22 balls. In his second, 0 off 1. So between those 2 points at the moment, 26 off 18.
He was unlucky, wasn't he, against Derbyshire? I thought, right shot, it was a poor ball, he just hit it straight to the fielder.
Hit it very crisply, but as you say, straight to the fielder. What will Vian Mulder make of Nathan Sauter? Forward goes the South African, back up the pitch goes the ball. Mulder this season 28 not out against Yorkshire and 17 off 12 against Derbyshire. Didn't bowl in either match. In goes Sauter, cut nicely by Mulder out towards deep point. It will be just the 1 though, out there on the boundary. I think that's Beddingham out there. Could be Graham Clark. 7 or 5, you can't quite tell. 78 for 3 though. Mulder off the mark with that shot. He's taken a couple of balls. He's had a bit of a look, Vian Mulder. Sauter in to Buttinger onto the legs. He tries to whip it out towards deep mid-wicket. Doesn't get anything on it. Comes off the pad. Dot ball. Better from Sauter. Buttinger just refastens his gloves. Makes Sauter wait a moment. Sauter anxious to get on with it. In he goes and bowls. Buttinger drives slightly across the line. Wasn't a straight drive. Out towards extra cover where the big man, the captain, Alex Lees, is the fielder. Yorkshireman. Lees, of course, has really thrived since he left his native patch. In goes Sauter, bowls, hit high and straight and long and straight too long, gone, and he's out. Sauter has another wicket and Buttinger goes, and suddenly it feels very different out there. Buttinger was feeling a little bit tied down. It was all the other balls in the over really that Sauter bowled that he wasn't able to get away, and we went for the big shot. It looked for a minute as though he'd got it perfectly. He didn't actually, and in the end it was a tolerably comfortable catch out there at long on, and Leicestershire suddenly 78 for 4.
Yeah, their innings in a little bit of trouble. If you subtract, if you take it from Rishi Patel's wicket, in the 4th over, then they've basically gone, well, they've scored, what, 30 runs in 6 overs? 7 overs now.
Well, they were 51 for 1, now 78 for 4.
This game and this innings suddenly now in the balance as Ben Cox comes to the wicket.
Nice catch from Mustard on T20 debut. Nice straightforward one, it has to be said. He'd have been disappointed to drop it.
It just didn't quite sound right. He didn't look comfortable from during that over, Bud and Jake. It just didn't feel like he timed that properly. There'll be a change of bowling. Coughlin, who's gone for 23 off his 2 overs. So he won't be happy with that economy rate, but he's got the perfect opportunity, really perfect circumstances to get it down. It is Coughlin who bowls, and it's outside off stump, driven handsomely by Mulder through cover, and he'll pick up a single by the man running in at deep point. 79 for 4 is the score.
From Leicestershire's point of view, Mulder now has to sort of play the Hanscom role a little bit, doesn't he? Just has to be someone the others can bat around to a certain extent. We've seen him do this before, though, just take it steady at the start and then brutal assault towards the end, but he needs to be there at the end.
They need something along the lines of, we do know Leicestershire bat deep. They've still got Rehan Ahmed, Ben Mike, Ian Holland to come, who are all-rounders who can certainly hold a bat. Cox the last of the batsmen, though, as that's a delivery down the leg side. They were appealing for leg before wicket. That was definitely going down the leg side. And a leg by as the ball just squirts away into the leg side. So that's 80 for 4 now. The score, and that run rate now dropped below 8. A bit of a cool breeze comes over Grace Road as the clouds appear. No risk of rain. The sun now just poking through a few holes in the leaden skies as Coughlin is in, and that's glanced away on the leg side by Mulder. They'll just get the single. Leicester's getting trapped a bit here. They're just getting a bit strangled by Durham at the moment. 81 for 4 the score. Bring you some of the other scores from around the country. Lancashire 97 for 1 off 8 against Birmingham. Good start for them. Gloucester 60 for 4 against Hampshire. Coughlin is in. Ball short. Oh dear me, that's going to be a wide. That didn't bounce at all. It's a slower bouncer, but it didn't get up. And so Cox went to swing at it, but it went underneath his bat. It would have been very difficult to reach that.
Another good day for North American cricket. Canada have beaten Ireland.
Oh wow, they have. Ireland failing to chase down 138, which is the target set by the Canadians. That's after the US beat Pakistan yesterday. Coughlin in, bowl short, and off the hips. Cox goes back and clips it away down fine on the leg side. Another single, but this is a pace that Durham will be happy with. They've wrenched back the momentum. Somerset 103 for 2 in their game against Kent down at Canterbury. Sussex 85 for 4 off 9 overs against Surrey. And then 3 games that started at 7 o'clock. Derbyshire 6 for 1 against Notts. Glamorgan 3 for 1 against Essex. And Northamptonshire 3 for no loss against Worcestershire. Big weekend for Northamptonshire sport, as Coughlin runs in but loses himself on the run up, just loses his rhythm, so he will go again. Dead ball signalled. Northampton Saints, boo, against Bath, boo, in the Premiership final. Be a great final, that. 83 for 4 then the score. Mulder on strike, right-handed, as Coughlin right arm bowler comes in, bowls short, and that's cooked pleasantly by Mulder, but there is a man out in the deep at deep mid-wicket. Leicestershire haven't got a boundary in quite some time now. It was the very first ball of the 9th over, so we've nearly gone 3 full overs without a boundary. The pressure building somewhat. Mulder on 4 runs off 7 deliveries, and Cox 1 off 2. As Coughlin is in again, he bowls. Oh, it's a great length, and that goes through. I think, did that beat everything, Rich? Did that go through bat and pad, right through the middle and over the top of the stumps? End of the over. That was a great delivery to finish. 84 for 4, so 6 off the over. But Durham will be perfectly happy with that. And after a rollicking old start from the Foxes, their pace is slowing. They are going at 7.6 and over at the end of the 11th over, 84 for 4. And that target, which I mentioned, 180, slipping away more by more.
You would snatch your hands off for 180, I promise you, on this. There's a bit there, it's not quite coming on. And 160 will take some getting, that's for sure. I haven't mentioned the umpires yet, by the way. Graham Lloyd and Neil Malander. Very experienced umpires. Parkinson is back and bowls, and around the wicket he comes, and Mulder waits and drives it along the ground all the way out towards Mustard at long off. There's not much of young Hayden Mustard. Still looks a slip of a boy. There wasn't much of his dad, really. Well, I'm sure there still isn't. But umpired, I presume he still is, Phil. I haven't seen him. He used to do umpiring. He used to come here once or twice a season, but I haven't seen him for a season or two, I don't think. In goes Parkinson, bowls. Cox is forward, thick inside edge. Confusion a moment. Mulder is interested as it runs out towards short leg. Robinson comes out quickly from behind the stumps and makes sure that the confusion is quickly ended. Parkinson tracking it back is in, bowls. Back goes Cox and turns it out towards deep mid-wicket. Should be 2. Didn't try and hit it too hard. Mulder is very fast between the stumps. He turned for the second. Lee's backing up, made sure there weren't any overthrows. Cox moves on to 387 for 4. Plenty of people in the ground now. Decent turnout, probably about 2,500, something like that. Parkinson is in. Cox playing it to exactly the same place. Should be, no, not 2 this time, because he's hit it a little bit closer towards mid-wicket. Coming in is Matthew Potts. He's quick over the ground. Here's Potts, as you'd expect from a fast bowler. So just the single. Cox on to 4, 88 for 4. First time Ben Cox has batted in the T20 this season. Didn't bat in either of the first.
He batted against Derbyshire.
Oh, did he? In goes Parkinson. Drops a little bit short. Pulled around the corner by Mulder, and it'll be just the 1.
Got 10 off 10.
I missed him out in taking my notes. An omission that I shall have to rectify. 89 for 4. In goes Parkinson, and bowls. Swept gently by Cox. Didn't try and overhit it. Made sure that he got plenty on it out towards deep backward square. 1 is taken. Perfectly respectable over from Callum Parkinson. Conceded 6 from it. 4 singles and a 2 and a dot ball after 12 overs. Leicestershire not limping along, but they've had to just choke back some of their bigger shots, and they've moved on to 90 for 4 at a run rate of 7.5.
It's all a bit flat. However, I'm sure VR Mould, if these two are in at the end, and they've both got 40 and 50 between them or whatever, then they'll be saying that this was a very vital and very important period of the game. But right now, crowd's a bit flat. The boundaries, the run scoring is a little bit flat too. Oh, the Tannoy, I think he put Coughlin off there for his final over. 1 for 28 his figures as he runs in from the pavilion end. He's up to the wicket and bowls. That's a good line, that. Just back of a length, and Cox goes across and clips it into the leg side where a single is taken. 91 for 4 is the score. 6 off 8 for Cox. With Mulder 6 from 9. Floodlights have come on. It's not a dark evening at all by any stretch of the imagination. The skies have darkened somewhat. A few spots of rain as I was heading down to the Uptonsteel County Ground today. Otherwise it's been a dry, but I wouldn't exactly say pleasant day. As Coughlin is in now, he's up to the wicket. Down the pitch comes Mulder, and Coughlin sees him coming. Bangs it in short and through it goes. Back to the wicket-keeper, Robinson, behind the stumps, and there is no run. Good bit of bowling that from Coughlin.
Yeah, considering he went for 15 off his first over, he's really dragged it back well. 1 for 29 off 3.2.
So just joining us, live T20 cricket, BBC Radio Leicester. As Coughlin is in, he's up to the wicket, he bowls. Back goes Mulder, and that's a poor delivery that he's just about got enough on, and it's going to race down towards the covers off the field for 4 runs. That is the first boundary we have had since the start of the 9th over, and the fact that we are now into the 12th
13th, no?
13th, sorry, no, you're right, yep, sorry, 12.3 overs, that was me getting myself muddled up there. So what, the best part of 3 overs without a boundary there? Bit of a gimme that from Coughlin, and Mulder onto it for his first boundary. What is Coughlin's response then? He kicks up his heels, he's up to the wicket. Mulder makes room for himself, and same shot, same result. Moved away this time to make room for himself and pulled it squarer this time, as a man had come in at fine leg but found the gap. And here's a bit of pace, a bit of vitality to the innings. 4 to Mulder, he's on to 14.99 for 4 the score, with 2 balls left in the 13th.
I'm just praising Paul Coughlin for dragging it back, and he's produced a couple of poor deliveries to Vian Mulder, who's very, very strong. He's not a particularly tall man, Vian, but he's very, very strong on the short against the short ball.
Coughlin is a tall man, he's up to the wicket, he bowls, and Mulder moves away again. Coughlin follows him, so Mulder just dabs this into the offside. The 100 up for the Foxes. It's taken them 12.5 overs when Rishi Patel was whacking it to all corners of the ground. Looks like they might romp to that sort of total, but at 100 for 4, a slightly different complexion to the game. But there's a bit of life in the pitch, and Leicestershire, well, trust their bowlers to defend a total. Coughlin in for the follow ball. It's a great delivery. Bit of movement off the seam, I think. Came back in at Cox and tucks him up a little bit. So there's no run. The ball just dribbling away out into the pitch. End of the over. 100 for 4. 100 for 4 is the score. Let's go to the Sir David Wallace Arena. End of the 3rd quarter between Loughborough Lightning and London Pulse. And Palmer Atkin.
Nathan Souter.
Souter back on at the Bennett end. His first ball is a poor one down the leg side and is pulled down to deep mid-wicket stroke wide long leg for 4 by Mulder. He was not going to miss out on that one. Souter's been a bit of a mixed bag. One for 17, I think he is now, off 2 point. One for 13 off 2.1. In he goes and bowls back goes Mulder. Ball follows him slightly. All he can do is sort of jam it out rather into the offside. Lees picks up. 1 is taken. 105 for 4. Mulder is there in the last 2 or 3 overs, then Leicestershire can be hoping for something around about 170, I think. Souter is in, back goes Cox, works it out towards mid-wicket, takes the first one quickly. Interested in the possibility of as a second. Potts, as I say, quick over the ground, comes in, and it is just the 1. Cox has come in quite early for me. There are people who can hit it further, you know, the likes of Ben Mike, but I think they want him to work it around a bit, give Mulder some sport without getting out. Mulder is bowled by Souter. Step forward, and I think it was the googly, went inside the bat and a nonplussed, absolutely nonplussed Vian Mulder. Beautiful piece of bowling by Souter. It came back in from the leggy who has been turning it or trying to turn it the other way and beat Mulder an absolutely conventional way. Mulder wasn't trying to do anything other than keep it out. It looked a very solid forward defensive. Let's have a look, see. Yep, went straight through him. And Mulder looks absolutely startled at that beautiful ball from Nathan Souter. And that is a big blow. 106 for 5 now, Leicestershire.
I was just going to say that I thought that Durham had slightly opened the door for Leicestershire. A few rank deliveries from the visitors, and Leicestershire had pounced on them, up the run rate, and suddenly we're building a platform with Mulder and Cox. But that was a bolt from the blue. That was a superb delivery, perfect googly, beautifully flighted, lovely length. He bowls a lot of googlies, doesn't he, Souter? But that is an absolute beauty, beautifully weighted, and then zips in.
Yep, beautiful flight,
beating him all ends up.
Loop, flight, spin. Bit too good for an international batsman.
The perfect googly, I'd suggest that is.
2 for 15 for Souter.
Now Ben Mike comes in. Again, they're saving Rahan Ahmed, I think, aren't they, for a big flashy finish?
Yeah, they did that against Derbyshire, and it kind of worked, didn't it? In goes Souter, and bowls back goes Mike, and that might have been a googly as well, because it came back in, and Mike was looking off the back foot to chop it away through the offside. Found himself having to sort of cover up very quickly and jam it out into the offside instead. Well bowled, Nathan Souter, 106 for 5. 1 ball to go in the 14th. Souter's third, 2 for 15 for him at the moment. In he goes and bowls. Mike is bowled! Off stump, and he looks back down the ground. It looks like he has been done in almost exactly the same way as Vian Mulder. Nathan Souter is bowling Durham to a really strong position here. Beautifully bowled by the Aussie. Let's have a look at that one as well, because Mike looks as perplexed as Vian Mulder did before him. Yep, straight back through the gap, and although Mike wasn't playing a forward defensive, he was trying to stroke it out through the offside, not particularly aggressively. That was just far, far too good for him, and Souter strikes twice in his third over. He has 3 wickets now, and Leicestershire in all sorts of trouble at 106 for 6.
Yeah, this has completely changed the complexion of the game, this over, and it is another absolute perler. And you just see, if you watch that, we've got the replay in front of us, and Mike's front leg is outside the line of off stump. So he's playing even further away from his off stump, his back comes through. So that just tells you how far that is jagged back in.
I think, if anything, that's a better ball than the one that did to Mulder. What
Two
will
beauties.
Rahan Ahmed make? Well, he might not have to face out. He's got 1 over left, but that is the last ball of the over. 106 for 6, so 6 runs from the over. The first ball was a shocker. Every other one were beauties.
So 106 for 6, 7.6 the run rate, and Rahan Ahmed comes in with his team in a lot of trouble. He came in under similar circumstances against Derbyshire. Him and Peter Hanscom built very slowly, but I don't think Rahan Ahmed really, I don't think they've got the time now. They're 106 for 6, they've got to get another 50 runs or so. Potts returns, 2 for 12 his figures. He bowls short, and Cox bowls down the leg side, and it's given us a wide. Cox tried to turn that round the corner.
Balls, 36 balls, yeah, it's still 36, isn't it, with that wide. So if they can get 50 off that Leicestershire, then they're going to be sort of 160 area. If they're 60, 170, still in the balance, this innings.
As we've already said, Leicestershire do bat deep. Potts bounds in again, he bowls, and that's fine, played fine down the leg side, 4 runs. Nice relief that for Ben Cox, his first boundary. He's now 11 off 11. Nice just shuffle across his stumps from Cox, and got a nice little glance down, fine on the leg side. 4 to Leicestershire.
They'll be hoping Ahmed can do what Souter's doing as well when he gets a chance to bowl a little bit later, but I wonder if they're now regretting not picking Lewis Goldsworthy for this game.
Yes.
They've left the left arm spinner out, Leicestershire, and there's some spin there, as Parkinson and Souter have shown.
Potts is in again, bowls, and that's another 2 straight delivery. Cox almost gets too much on this time. I think he was a bit early on it, and obviously hits it into the leg side square, and we'll just get a single on that. So 12 from 12 for him. Rahan Ahmed will face the first delivery. 36 off 22. Very disciplined knock from Rahan Ahmed. 1, 4, 3 sixes. And I think those 3 sixes, certainly 2 of them were the final over, weren't they? I think the third might have been on the penultimate over. So he was nicely knocking it around, finding the gaps. During that innings, built a very strong partnership with Peter Hanscom. He may well have to do the same thing again. The England international waits. There's another England international bowls to him. Rahan Ahmed, there was no foot movement on that whatsoever. That was just a drive into the offside. Shows his hand-eye coordination. But an under-13s club
kind of
cricket
like
coach.
French cricket, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes he plays, there's just minimal foot movement. We're getting used to it now, the more you see him bat, but it's still disconcerting sometimes, isn't it?
An under-13s cricket coach at a club in Leicestershire somewhere would have a heart attack watching that shot. As Potts it is, 3 balls remaining in the over. He's up to the wicket, he bowls, and Cox again on straight line, although Cox is moving slightly across his stumps. Just plays it into the leg side where it's fielded by deep square leg. There is a single added to the total. It is 114 for 6. Ahmed 1 from 1. Cox 13. Reminder, if you don't know, Leicestershire won their first game here against Yorkshire this time last week, and then lost against Derbyshire. Durham have lost both of their first two, hammered in both, bowled out for 75 and 101, but this is a better performance. Potts in, bowls, oh, there's another nice fine glance from Rahan Ahmed, and he gets 4 from it. The faintest of touches, but it was deliberately done. Oh, is it leg? I thought he got something on it. I missed the umpire's signal. I thought he got something on it. You're right, Richard, leg by is signalled. So 4 leg byes added to the total. 118 for 6, that's a bit of blessed relief for Leicestershire.
Yeah. 12 off the over so far, 1 ball to go.
Yes, it was off the legs. Just watching the replay. The Bangor Drummers getting going for that. So what will Potts' response be? 118 for 6, it's a good over for Leicestershire so far. In he comes, that's short and straight, and Ahmed goes back, clips it into the leg side square, and in comes the fielder to race round and whip it in right-handed. So that is the end of the over. 15 gone. The run rate back up towards 8. And how many was off that over? 13 in the end, Richard. That was much more like it from a Leicestershire perspective. This game's still very well within the balance with 30 balls remaining.
First of those 30 deliveries will be bowled by Nathan South, and Foxes will be very glad when he's bowled 6 of them if no further damage has been done. Men out, long off, long on, mid-wicket and backward square. Comes in and bowls to Ahmed, who goes back, waits for it, and then just pushes it firmly out towards long on and jogs 1. This is where Ahmed's disinclination to move his feet, stay on the back foot, might actually help in an odd sort of way. He's not going to get forward. He's unlikely to plunge forward at Souter. What will Cox make of the Aussie who is in? Drops a touch short. Cox goes back. It skids on. And Cox works it away towards backward square and should pick, and does pick up 2. Callum Parkinson running in from that deep backward square position in front of the geary bar. Got his throw away, but he's not got the strongest arm, Callum. Never has had. It's quicker over the ground these days. But still 2 to Cox, who's on to 15. Souter is in and bowls. Cox sweeps and he gets that past the diving rain. Can Parkinson get there? No, he can't. Adam signals for next to me. No chance for Parkinson. Rain will be disappointed, plunging away to his left. He wasn't able to get there. So at the moment, this over is going tolerably well against Souter as far as Leicestershire are concerned. 1-2-6 for 6.
That was a nice shot. He held back his pace and he held it back a bit there, Souter, and Cox played it well. Thought he might have just been outwitted by Souter. He wouldn't be the first in this innings, but not this time.
Pine Malander tells Souter to wait a moment. Cox is ready now. Lees is still chuntering away, the skipper, at sort of shortish third. In goes Souter, bowls, waits for it. That was the one that came back a touch, I think. Waited on the back foot. Cox didn't really spin quite as much. Cox able to defend it out onto the onside and then makes the ubiquitous, the universal sign of the batsman when it's turning the other way with his right hand. It turns unexpectedly, tosses that one up, sweeps from outside off stump, but he got to the pitch of the ball on that occasion. Cox so able to smother any spin as he swept out towards deep mid-wicket. Takes 1-2-7 for 6. 1 ball of Souter's spell remains. 3 for 23 for him at the moment. Steps in and bowls. Ahmed is forward, just turns his wrists on the defensive push, back up the pitch it goes. Souter fields, ends of the over. As I say, 3 for 23 off his 4. Pretty decent from Nathan Souter, and he has changed the game to a certain extent, but Leicestershire now just beginning to drag it back. 16 overs gone, 4 remain, 1-2-7 for 6 is the score.
Yeah, well, they'll be glad they've seen him off, haven't they?
8 off it.
He's done the damage. He's done some damage. Cox has played a nice little knock. 20 off 17. Rahan Ahmed 3 off 5. So 4 overs remaining. Ben Rain is back. 14 off his 2 overs. So imagine he will bowl the final 2 from this end, the pavilion end, which is closest to us. Cloudy skies above, but plenty of blue sky poking through as Rain. Short run up. trundles in now. He's up to the wicket. He bowls. That's a good length. Just back of a length slightly. Cox goes back, clips it into the leg side where mid-wicket charges in at a rate of knots. Grabs the ball right-handed and launches the ball in. 128 for 6. Again, that run rate just short of 8 and over. Cox, we haven't... As Richard sort of said, he's played one innings, 10 off 10, got in and then got out.
Oh, Richard didn't say.
Oh, yes.
I didn't remember him.
As Richard was reminded.
Yeah, that's the word.
Ahmed faces Rain, drives. It's not the most handsome of shots, but actually he's found the gap and they'll get 2 behind square on the offside. Not much foot movement again. It drives at it. Thick outside edge, beating backward point, and so 2 more to the total. Ahmed now 5 off 6, 130 for 6 is the score.
He could really rewrite the coaching manuals, couldn't he, Rehan Ahmed?
Well, they do.
Just stand there.
In terms of big hitting, it sort of works, trying to clear the foot movement out of the way, but if you're going to do a cover drive, it doesn't. That's short from Rain. Back goes Ahmed. And glances it into the leg side, where again that mid-wicket is in action, and the throw comes in, single-added, 1-3-1 for 6. House over to the right-hand side, from where we can sit behind the Uptonsteel stand, where they've converted their attic into a viewing platform, which I'm always looking at. People there watching the game as Rain is in, and Cox goes across the line, whipping that out towards that deep mid-wicket position again. It was a straight delivery, full length. He went back and just whipped it away with a flick of the wrist. Single taken. What 22 he's on to now. 1-3-2 for 6. That's the dream, isn't it? I wonder if they rent that out.
I've never seen anybody up there, to be honest.
Well, because the doors are open, so I don't know if they're hanging around behind. As Ben Rain is in, back goes Rehan Ahmed and pushes back out into the offside this time. A single is taken. So we've had 6 off the over, haven't we, with the final ball to come. And Leicestershire will be aiming for 160?
They're definitely in the game at 160.
Yeah.
I think 170 they'd love.
I'll have to get another 37 for that as Rain is in. There's the scoop, and it's a great shot. Fantastic from Cox. 2 bounce 4. That's the way to finish the over, and he's turned what might have been a pretty mean over from Rain into a profitable one. 10 off it, and Cox finishes nicely. Let's get an update from the Sir David Wallace Arena. Owen Palmer-Atkin. I think we haven't got Owen there, so we'll come back to him in just a second. So 137 for 6 is the score. Cox under 26 for Rehan Ahmed at 7 not out. And yeah, that 160 will be the initial target. I think if we can get anything over that, will be a bonus.
Callum Parkinson endeavouring to make sure that doesn't happen. Looks around him, and then out, long off, long gone. Extra cover mid-wicket and backward square. Ahmed goes big at long on, will be caught and is caught. Well, Ahmed tried to hit it over long on, didn't get it at all. Really didn't get in position at all, and Parkinson holds up a hand in triumph. He's picked up his 2nd wicket. Might be Mustard out there again who's taken the catch. I'll confirm that in a moment. But another big blow. Those two, Cox and Ahmed, were just beginning to get Leicestershire into a better position to a little bit of an assault, but the assault hasn't come off. Ian Holland comes out to replace Rehan Ahmed, who is dismissed. In fact, it was Souter out there at long gone, and Ahmed went for 7.
Hey, you sort of summed it up there nicely. You just felt that Rehan Ahmed and Ben Cox have been building. It's been symptomatic of this innings that once things have started to build, Leicestershire have lost a wicket. And that has harmed them so far. And 7 wickets now, with 2.5 overs to go, so 17 balls remaining.
A little bit careful to use all 17 of those deliveries. Parkinson is in to Holland, who goes back and just turns the delivery round the corner out towards Rain, who comes in from the edge of the circle on the 45. Holland takes one, gets Cox back on strike. That's his job at the moment. 138 for 7. Parkinson 2 for 23 now. Licks his fingers round the wicket to the right-handed Ben. Cox gives it some air down the leg side, is appealing for leg before, but it's off the pad, going down to fine leg. The finest of fine legs for 4 leg buys. No way that was going to be leg before wicket, Parky, who was, I don't know, really that was an optimistic shout for leg before, because it barely flicked the pad, just did enough to take it out of the reach of Robinson, and a bit of a bonus for Leicestershire 4 leg buys, 142 for 7.
Cox playing, you didn't know much about that, but he's playing an important knock.
Parkinson is into the former Worcestershire man, who goes back and pulls hard, and he's got it. Oh, brilliant stop. No, he hasn't stopped it. Potts dived away to his left. He got there and did brilliantly to get there. Dived away to his left, got a left hand onto it, but couldn't quite get enough of a left hand onto it to stop it just trickling over the ropes down there at mid wicket. So consecutive boundaries to Leicestershire. 146 now for 7. We'll see these last 2 balls of this Parkinson over and then pop over and get an update on the net ball from Owen. Parkinson talks to his captain Alex Lees, and he says to his mid-wicket Potts, go wider, out towards the family stand over there. And he comes in and bowls to Cox, who's working it out straight-ish mid-wicket, should be 2. Holland's going to go for the second, and he's going to make his ground as well. Brilliant running from Ian Holland. It wasn't a bad throw from Potts on the bounce, taken by Parkinson, who whipped off the bails, but Holland dived in and made his ground, made 1 into 2 there. Good work by Holland. Cox into the 30s now, on to 32, 148 for 7. Parkinson bowls, back goes Cox and plays it out towards point. It'll be just the single, diving across to his right. Well, it was a necessary dive from Ashton Turner, really, because the man behind him was only about 5 yards away. Nonetheless, had to show willing and did. Single to Cox, he keeps the strike, moves on to 33, 149 for 7.
Let's get full time at the Sir David Wallace Arena. Loughborough Lightning facing London Pulse, second against third, Owen Palmer-Atkin.
Come on then, the Uptonsteel County Ground penultimate over on its way. It's going to be bowled by number 35, Matthew Potts.
That's a big loss for Loughborough Lightning. They'll be gutted at that. Away semi-final will, in all likelihood, if it is that, be at Pulse. As the penultimate over begins, Potts to bowl it, and it's a length delivery that Cox actually does really nicely, where he just cleared his front leg and hooks it round the corner for a single. He's 34 from 25. It's been a great little knock from him. The 150 up for Leicestershire. And so they've got 11 balls remaining to get what they hope will be at least another, well, they will hope for 20. They will hope for 20 from these final 11 deliveries. If Cox stays in, they've got a very good chance of getting it. Holland 1 from 1. Potts runs away from us at the pavilion end. He's up to the wicket, he bowls, and a reverse scoop. That's a ridiculous shot from Holland. He's got a 1 bounce 4 when he was going for the orthodox ramp, but then had to adapt and improvise, and sort of ended up having to reverse scoop it back over his head on the offside. Very fine, down towards third man, and there is 4 runs, and the most bizarre 4 runs of the day, and the fielder down at third man is going to have to go into the car park and get that. There he is, he's got it back. 154 for 7. Holland on to 5.
Benefits of having a deep batting lineup. So every side does these days to a certain extent, but that was a clever shot.
Clever adaptation. Because Potts did outwit him at first. Holland faces Potts again. This time it's, well, I was about to say a more orthodox shot, but it was a complete mow to cow corner, which he inside edges into his pad and gets a single for. He's looking to absolutely heave that, Ian Holland. That would have gone into Derbyshire had he connected with it. But as it is, it's just 155 for 7. 170 very realistic now, Richard.
Yeah, and that would be a decent score on this pitch for me.
It's got a bit of life in it, considering they've lost 7 wickets. Probably depends on this man staying in. Cox bends his knees as he waits for Potts and crunches it. What a shot that is. 4 through cover. Comes down the track. Potts brought his length back a little bit, but he whacked it, clattered it through the offside for 4 runs. Powerful stroke from Cox. And they move on to 159 for 7.
Yeah, made it into a length ball, didn't he? And then gave himself room and absolutely timed it to perfection. Thumped it away into the gap between mid-off and extra cover for 4. Potts taking a bit of a hammering at the moment, none for 31. Success has come when there's been pace off, success for the spinners. Leicestershire will be thinking about that. In goes Potts.
And it bowls, and Cox clips it away on the leg side. It was slightly uppish, but he knew that the shot was safe. There's nobody in on the infield. Forgot who's commentating them for a second, Richard. As long as you're on it, that's good.
All yours.
So 160 is up. I'd say that's the minimum that they need. Holland on 6 now, facing the final ball of the over, and Cox, importantly, has got the single. So they're looking for the final ball of the over now. The conversation's going on.
Big 7 balls, these. Big
yeah.
7 balls. 170, 175.
Would be brilliant. How can they finish this over? Holland, the perfect way to finish this over is a boundary for Holland. Potts is in. Holland makes room for himself, and he'll just get the single down the ground as there's a tumbling stop at mid-off by Hayden Mustard. So good over that for Leicestershire. 12 off it in the end, and they will be happy with that. Cox won't face the strike. It'll be Holland on strike, but Holland can certainly hold a bat. Yeah, Cox 39, Holland 7, with 6 balls to go. The score 161 for 7. You're right, big 6 balls. You would suggest. I mean, we're in the 3rd game, but look at the momentum Leicestershire need. It's a big 6 balls ahead.
Potts none for 33 off his 4. Souter 3 for 23 off his 4. Rain is going to bowl the final over from the Bennett end down the slope, which he didn't do very often when he was here. Always used to be charged with bowling up the slope from the pavilion end. 1 for 24 from 3 for Ben as he comes in and bowls to Holland, who backs away, smacks it back past Rain. Good diving stop away to his right at mid-off on the edge of the circle. Rain put down his hand to his left, sort of burst through his hand, might just have taken a fraction of pace off it, enabling mid-off to get across to his right. Mustard and make the stop. 162 for 7. Holland on to 8. Cox has 39. Rain has got his leg side field completely out on the boundary. 1, 2, 3, 4, and only the sweeper on the offside in front of the popular seats in the Uptonsteel stand over there. On that side of the ground, in goes Rain and bowls slower ball, but it's a full toss, picked up beautifully for a 1 bounce 4 by Cox. Beautiful picked up. Rain got that one wrong. It was his slower ball, but it floated at a beautiful height down to Cox, and he just waited for it and helped it on its way, essentially, down to deep mid-wicket stroke wide long leg. And you probably feel if I just put a bit more into that, he only bounced about 2 or 3 yards short of the ropes. Could have picked up 6 instead of 4, but Cox on to 43. Can he get his 50? He's got 4 balls to do so. He'd be more interested in getting Leicestershire past 170. Runs available on the leg side. That's where Rain wants Cox to hit the ball. Down the slope he comes and bowls. He's trying a reverse sweep. He's appealing for leg before it runs down to one of 2 short third man. Again, he says, that's Rain is asking again for leg before. Well, how come no? He says no, but Neil Mallon just signals leg by. Says no, wasn't going to hit the stumps. So I'm not convinced it was going to hit the stumps. I think Ben Rain was a Leicester reject. They would have loved to have kept him. I say that because some in the crowd chanting that, but they did their very best to keep him, but he wanted to go back up to the northeast, and it's been a huge success for Ben Rain. They'd have loved to have him here. In he goes, bowls to Ian Holland, who goes back and clears his front leg and clubs it out towards long on, but there is a long on, so it'll be just the single. Holland on to 9, 168 for 7, 2 balls to go. Cox on 43, looks like they're going to get over 170. Whether that's par, or I think it's a bit better than par, so could be a cracking game this. Could be a really good game. That score could take a bit of getting. Rain is in. Bowls a slow bouncer down the leg side. Cox stepped down the leg side, but it is signalled wide. He tried to follow him, but he followed him too far. That's a tough one on Ben Rain. It was a slow leg side bouncer following Cox, who had stepped to the leg side, but it still went further down the leg side. So umpire Mallard had to think about that one, but he did think about it and signalled wide. 169 for 7. Well taken by Robinson, by the way. Rain is in again. Full toss, hit for 6. Into the Geary bar, scattering the crowd down there. Beautiful pickup. Rain will be very, very disappointed about that. Second full toss he's bowled in the over. First one went for 4. That one went for a beautifully picked up 6. Cox on to 49. He's got a ball left. Leicestershire have a ball left. They're on to 175. Same again from Ben Cox, and Leicestershire will feel, not that they're in control of the game, but
180 would be a great score.
They can defend 180. They will believe they can defend 180. Rain jogs in down the slope. Bowls, better delivery, smashed back towards him. Well, should be a single for Cox. He does get there, loses his bat as he dives in. Rain picked himself up, picked up the ball on the onside, turned, hurled the ball at the stumps, missed them. Cox picks up 1, gets his 50. Very well batted, Ben Cox. Without them, without those runs, Leicestershire would have been in a real mess, but that's a super half century from Ben Cox. The Foxes finish 176 for 7. 177 will be Durham's target. Could be a great game here at the Uptonsteel County Ground.
Yeah, I think 176. Very good score. Leicestershire were in a little bit of trouble, I would suggest, at some points in that innings, but Ben Cox has played a brilliant innings and has
15 off that last over.
15 off the last over, has really given them a chance. I have to say, what were they at one stage? And you look at end of the 16th, 127 for 6. And or even 106 for 6 at the end of the 14th. Leicestershire looked way off 176, so they have set Durham 177. I think we've got, Jack Rafferty, a great finish to this game ahead.
Well, as you were both just saying there was various points. I think at one point, Richard, you said they'd snap your hand off for 150. They've ended on 176 that you've just described as being a bit better than par. I was all ready to ask you about a disappointing innings based on what you were just saying there, Adam, but will they be happy with that now, Richard?
Yeah, for sure they will. I think I said they would have snatched your hand off for a bit more than 150, but at 106 for 6, yes, I think they were looking at that sort of level, and that doesn't really look like it's been enough. That's not the sort of score. A 150 isn't the sort of score that can put batsmen under pressure in these days of T20. They can work it around a little bit. Now they'll feel Durham, well, you know, we've got to score sort of the best part of 9 runs and over. Power play is going to be shot on this hit. He learned the lesson, which was that pace was hot. So then he went for 30 off, or tried to take the pace off him, but he didn't get his lengths right. So you've got to learn this, the Foxes. They're in a good position in this game, but you know, they'll fancy it as well. It'll be a cracking.
If the Leicester's up in the chases, if they've got army ball, a spinner, be very good for them. You just want, it's in hindsight easy for us to consider, but you just wonder if Lewis Gold's at least signed them from Somerset for that. The best shot Leicester's they have to play clever and they pay chase. But just back to that innings, fantastic end to it. If you go from the 15th over, 13, 8, 10, 12, you know, just knocked it around, play very cautiously, but then showed some great success. Will not be happy with the way they finished their bowling. But they opened the door to Foxes, a couple of them could have killed them.
Really, Richard, the innings did by 2 Rishi Patel came out, looked confident, maybe disappointed with how he did get given out. There's Ben Cox really taking the game by the scruff of the neck and taking Leicestershire to a good score in the end. Very concerning when he came in.
Yeah, with that, two very contrasting innings, but so much talent, it's almost scary sometimes. And sooner or later, he's going to pursuit he's in there because that absolutely board, 29 off 13 and up 50 off the. He could just get 8 toes, 100 as well. But Cox showed all experience. He's a very experienced player. Cox worked it early, and that's the case in any form of cricket. Once you put it in line of time, it becomes good for him, and you get it rich well. Yes, you for not only have they got to learn by Durham, Edgbaston should defend it, and they should defend that here. I don't think this pitch should be harder for Durham.
Adam, thank you very much indeed. They'll be back with you for commentary when Durham come out for their innings and local sports appointee. With now the active line deal, the also Herman Fletcher commentator. If I see a movement and I think I might need you to get part, I'll let you know. But oh yeah. Oh, well, we should be just.
With the bat as Mulder is in. Bowls. Oh, and that's hit him right in an area that is unmentionable. Whew. Yep. Everyone take a deep breath. So straight delivery. Nice bit of pace again from Mulder. So 4 for no loss. Good comeback from the first ball.
Early wicket, especially that of Leeds, could be huge.
Thank goodness for the invention of the box. Mulder it is at the pavilion end. He's running away from us, juts out his elbows and straightens his back as he bowls outside a stump. That's a nice bit of shape again. And Clark tried to move away from his stumps back towards the leg side, to heave it away on the offside, but he missed it entirely. Mulder's comeback's very decent.
Getting that away, moving to the right.
He's been part of the South African setup in their pre-World Cup tour of the West Indies, but isn't obviously involved in the squad as Mulder is in again out. Mulder it is. Holds the ball tight into his chest as he runs in now. Right arm over the wicket. Oh, it's a straight delivery. This time moves in. And it's driven straight down the ground by Clark, and that is the end of the over. Mulder showing his international class there to finish in style. So 4 for no loss, 1 over. We will have every ball for you, BBC Radio Leicester, in the T20 Blast up until the finish on DAB, BBC Sounds, BBC Sport website now.
Josh Hull, new contract. Signed this week. Signed a new 3-year deal with the Foxes. Was only on a rookie deal, but now has a proper professional contract, presumably reasonably well remunerated, which he has signed, and hoping for great things for him. And from Foxes, 177, remember, is what they're after. Hull, men out at backward square, and third man is in and bowls. Lees gets a shortish ball onto the hip, tries to work it away, comes off the thigh pad sort of area, top of the pad on the back foot, dribbles out towards Rishi Patel, who is at that sort of on the 45 on the edge of the circle, and the leg bite is taken. 5 without loss. Lees yet to get off the mark. Cross with himself for not getting a little bit of bat on that, just helping it down to fine leg perhaps is what he was trying to do. And Hull will be bowling to the right-handed Clark. Kimber goes out of slip to sort of short third man on the edge of the circle. Long leg is up on the edge of the circle as well, as Hull is in to Clark, who just dabs it out into the covers. Mulder is quickly onto it, picks up and turns ready to throw at the non-striker's end, but Clark and Lees both went straight away, and as a consequence both had made their ground by the time Mulder was ready to throw. 6 without loss. Crowd, particularly over there on the in the popular seats alongside the meet, for those who know the Uptonsteel County Ground, beginning to get lively, as they say, even drowning out the Bhangra drums from time to time. Hull is into Lees, outside off stump, bounce, and leaves him a little bit, tries to sort of flick it away rather than carve it away, Lees, and cross with himself again, because if he put more weight into the shot, might have a better chance of getting on something on it. But I think the pace and bounce started to surprise him a little bit there. He had a little flick at the ball, didn't really sort of swing away too much, but the bounce startled Lees.
Plenty in this pitch.
Hull leans forward, then he gets into his run, 6'7", as he bowls to Lees, outside off stump, steering it towards backward point. Good diving stop away to his right by Budinger, picks himself up ready to hurl the ball at the stumps, but sees that Clark had already made his ground, and therefore there's no point taking the chance. 7 without loss after the 4 off the first ball. Just 3 runs from the next 10.
It's a very good start.
Yeah, I've just seen Holland warming up, so he might be about to take the second over. We shall see. Hull is in to Clark, backs away, cuts for 4. Down to third man, dived across to his left, Budinger at a backward point on the edge of the circle, and the man at short third as well to his right, but threaded the eye of the needle very nicely there. Graham Clark picks up 4 off the last. Well, that'll disappoint Hull and Leicestershire, but still not too bad a start. 11 without loss after 2, and at this stage Leicestershire 18 without loss.
Yeah, that 4 has soured things slightly, but it still feels like a positive start. Leicestershire getting more out of this pitch. Bit of movement, bit of shape. So it's a positive start for Leicestershire. 177 the target, 166 needed to win for Durham to get their first win in the T20 Blast. Leicestershire looking for their second. The atmosphere building nicely. I think for some the third point has just started to kick in. Possibly more than that, isn't it? Holland then, 22 on his back, bowling from the pavilion end. On a chilly night in the centre of Leicester, he's bowling to the left-handed Lees, who raises his bat high. Holland is in, bowls, that's hit high, it's a lovely shot. And that might go for 6, actually, it goes all the way, it does. Lands about 3-4 feet over the boundary rope. Not much of a follow through, not much power really in the stroke. It was just perfect timing and lovely technique on the shot, and it went down the ground for 6.
He's a big, strong man, isn't he, Lee? Doesn't need to have a huge follow through.
17 for no loss, 160 to win. Holland is in, bowls, and that's driven down the ground. That's 4 more. What an aggressive start to the over from Lee. Straight as a dart down the ground, and the Grace Road silenced all of a sudden, as Holland has started this over, conceding plenty of runs. So 21 for no loss now, 2 balls into the 3rd over. Lee's 11, Clark 9. Brought you updates earlier from the Sir David Wallace Arena as Holland is in. He bowls. That's a slower delivery and straighter, but there might be 4 more actually. Oh no, it's Ben Mike's racing round. He'll stop the 3rd bounty in a row. Will he spilt it as he was sliding along, but fortunately sort of spilt it sideways rather than backwards, and so there is just 2 added. Lee's 13, but that is now 12 off the over with 3 deliveries gone. Loughborough Lightning's net ballers losing to London Pulse, so they are 2nd and 3rd level now, 42 points each as they go for the home semi. With 1 game left, Lightning still 2nd on goal difference. Ben Mike comes in from deep mid wicket. Peter Hanscom goes deep to long on. As in comes Holland, beats him on the outside edge. Nice bit of movement away. That was a lovely delivery, good comeback from Holland. Beat him all ends up there and got him fending outside his off stump. Iceland have taken the lead over England. Words that send a shiver down every Englishman's neck. Iceland have taken the lead. 2024 qualifier. Hanscom comes in this time for Lees for the penultimate ball of the over, and he comes, he bowls, and again outside off stump, and they run through for a single throw at the stumps, and it just misses. Probably would have been in trouble.
Yeah, I think if it had hit, he'd gone. Buddinger's throw. 1 stump to aim at.
Bit of a silly single to be taking in the 3rd over. It was hit straight to the man at cover. But they were onto it quickly and called it through. So Clark will face the final ball of this 3rd over. Already had 13 off it. That's Holland. Relatively short run up. Starts from the pavilion end. He runs away from us, past the umpire. He bowls. That's a good Yorker, actually. It's a very good Yorker outside off stump, made even better by the fact that Clark had moved towards the leg side and had to basically jab his bat down vertically to try and get anything on it. Squirts away behind square on the offside. A single is taken. 25 for no loss. So that's an expensive over. 14 off it. And they are ahead of the DLS par, so that's on 20. So they're 25 for no loss. They need 152 to win this game. Durham at the same point. Leicestershire were 33 for no loss, but really Rishi Patel started so brilliantly that it started to slow down after this point. So interesting to see what happens here.
Ben Mike is going to bowl the 4th over of the Durham innings. Can be expensive, but he's usually one for picking up wickets, Ben Mike. Which way is he going to go tonight? He's bowling to Graham. Clark comes in and bowls Yorker, dug out nicely by Clark, out towards wide-ish mid-on. Hanscom fields, 1 is taken. Clark onto 11, 26 without loss.
Good cricket all round, that.
That was. Produced a couple of good Yorkers against Derby. 1 beauty to pick up a wicket, the ball after being hit for 6, Ben Mike. Turns, knees pumping as he runs in and bowls to Lees, who whips him away off middle and leg out towards deep backward square. Holland comes running in, fields, staggers slightly as he does so, but gets his throw away, just a single to Lees and moves on to 15. Mike 2 for 28 and 2 for 36 from his 2 spells bowled in this competition. The vitality blast so far this season.
Sums up Mike really, doesn't he? He'll get you a couple of wickets, but he'll go for a few.
Exactly that. He comes, slightly angled run, balls to Clark, who backs away, almost got one through there. Ben Mike, thick inside edge. Clark as he tried to club it away through the offside off his back foot. Trickles out into the onside. Mike himself fields in his follow through, tosses the ball to his skipper and jogs back to his mark. Singles off the first 3 balls of the over so far. Durham would be pleased with this. No wickets down yet in the power play. Lees and Clark both into double figures. Mike is in to Lees' bowl. Slower ball. Lees waits for it and turns it away off the back foot out towards deep backward square where Holland is the fielder. And one more is taken. Durham out for 75 and 101 this season, but they were 30 without loss in that second game against Birmingham before collapsing to 101 all out. So they'll have that slightly in the back of their minds, Durham supporters at the moment. Mike is in, Clark is going backing away, but followed by Ben Mike. He stays on the back foot and works it out towards wideish mid-on. Hanscom has to run around to his right, and again it is just the single, 30 without loss. This is the point at which, as I say, it all went horribly wrong against Birmingham. Might be different this time round.
It's a good over from Mike, this.
Yeah.
It's looked quick.
Singles from each of the first 5 balls is all Clark and Lees have been able to manage. Mike is in to Lees' full toss that he bunts back in the air, not so very far wide of Ben Mike, and he's looking for the no ball on height, and it's signalled. It is signalled. None of the Leicestershire players can quite believe that. Peter Hanscom is saying to Neil Malland that was miles below waist height. Well, no, says Neil Malland. Graham Lloyd signalled it. It wasn't miles below waist height. It was about waist height. And I think did we mention this about the possibility with Ben of before the start, didn't we, of occasional full toss, and one of them might be a beamer. Well, it wasn't a beamer, but it was high enough to be signalled no ball and a free hit, so a good over could be about to go horribly wrong, arguably already has, because they did pick up a run off it as well, so no ball, so they'd have taken 3 off that ball. Here it comes again. Mike is in, hit over mid-on, well, caught at mid-on, but of course not caught by Peter Hanscom because it doesn't count. They took one, the crowd, who hadn't been paying attention, didn't quite realise that it was a no ball previously, so that was a free hit. So in a way, Mike kind of got away with it, 1 off it, 4 off that ball, and he's still not happy. He's looking towards the Leicestershire dressing room. Was that really high? It was marginal, wasn't it?
I thought it was a little bit unfair. Not a howler either way, is what I'd say, which pretty much sums up what you're saying, marginal. Had it not been given, I don't think I would have complained. VR Mulder will bowl his second over from the pavilion end. His first delivery is cut straight to Ben Mike at extra cover. Oh, and he's unhappy. I think has he hurt his fingers there? No, yeah, I think he has hurt his fingers. I don't know if it just stung a bit. I was worried it was a bit more serious at first, but it's just rattled into his fingers at cover. No run, 34 for no loss, 143 needed for Durham to win this game off 15.5 overs. They're going at 8.2 and over. They need 9, but they'll be pretty happy with that run rate. Mulder it is then, past the umpire, bowls him! Leg stump, crashes to the floor. Mulder jumps up in celebration, and the opening stand is broken. It was Clark just trying to move away from his stumps to try and make room for himself through the offside, but it smashes into the stumps, and it's 34 for 1. Clark gone for 14.
Leicestershire needed that one. They needed a wicket, at least 1 wicket in their power play. They'll be looking for 2, and Mulder, the South African international, obliges. Clark had been sort of backing away almost throughout Mike's previous over, just trying to make a little bit of room, trying to crack the ball away through the offside. That sort of followed him from Vian Mulder, and a little bit of nip from the South African. Little bit of movement perhaps, and it was a little bit too good for Graham Clark, so 34 for 1.
Big breakthrough at a big time. Just as that opening pair started to get going, Looked like they were building solid foundations for a very good chase.
Yeah, it was a horrid shot actually from Clark. It was previously sort of backed away and tried to work it, and that was a sort of bit of a swipe really. Big now, David Beddingham. Talk about in form.
Mulder into him. First delivery, it's down the leg side and it's left alone, so it'll be a wide. Yeah, so he's
stunning.
He's in moderate form, yeah. 4 centuries in a row. 4 centuries in a row in the county championship. Yeah. 795 runs so far in Division 1.
5 centuries overall in Division 1 for him, and he's by far the highest scorer in red ball cricket at the moment in the country.
He's just come from a winter with South Africa where he's played for his country for the first time, as Beddingham, and he's now facing as Mulder runs away from us past the umpire, and that crashes into the pads. Big appeal for LBW. Cox leapt into the air, but I have a feeling it may just have been going down the leg side. Yes, it was. Just seen the replay. So Beddingham off strike, not off the mark though. 36 for 1, 141 to win. It's one of those players who joined when he joined Durham, was it 2019, something like that. He gave up his international chances at that point, but he's now able to play for his country.
This feels like the big partnership, Beddingham and Lees.
Crowd really getting going. There's a nice atmosphere below us as Mulder runs in. He bowls straight to the left-handed Lees, who goes back and just glances him square on the leg side where Rahan Ahmed fields. 37 for 1, 140 required to win. Plenty of other games going on at the moment. Birmingham chasing 177, the exact same total against Lancashire at Old Trafford. The Bears 26 for 2. Hampshire chasing down 125, Gloucestershire 124 all out down at the county ground in Bristol. VR Mulder up to the wicket, he bowls. That's hit down into the ground by Beddingham. He is off the mark. It's a pretty ugly shot, but he's got away with it. 38 for 1. Somerset defending 198 and Kent 26 for 3 in pursuit after 3 overs. Surrey 27 for 2 in pursuit, massive 213 for 7 from Sussex. Got all the runs there. Allsop and Hughes. Derbyshire 198 for 5. That game started at 7. Glamorgan 160 for 7. Mulder in straight and whip round the corner, but well stopped. Short fine legs. That Patel there out at short fine leg. Good stop from him. So that is the end of the over and a successful one for Leicestershire. 5 runs off it and an all-important wicket, the first breakthrough. So Durham require 138 to win from 15 overs. That DLS par 38, so they're about level with it. This game far from over, very much in the balance. We've got a thrilling finish ahead. I'll just finish the scores, by the way. Glamorgan 160 for 8 now, with 2 balls remaining in their innings. Northamptonshire with 5 balls left, 152 for 4.
Josh Hull bowled the second over, is back to bowl the 6th from the Bennett end.
Pack the offside, look.
Yeah, they have last over of the power play, but he's bowling to the left-handed Lees. And they brought Mulder in from mid-wicket boundary to the edge of the circle. So the 2 men out are backwards square and long leg as Hull is in to Lees, who turns it down to long leg. It does rather dictate for me when this feels a bit like that, where the bowler kind of almost has to bowl. Got to bowl at Lees' legs really, or you know, try and get him to make his hitting zone, so to speak, down to that part of the ground, and that's what happened. So in those circumstances, a single is what Leicestershire were bowling for. Men out now at mid-wicket and backwards square for the right-handed Beddingham, who stands holding his bat like a club high in the air, bowls onto the legs. Hull tries to work it into the leg side, comes off the pad, bounces out towards short leg. Hull himself feels Durham take the leg by 41 for 1. The manual scoreboard is in cracking form tonight. It is absolutely lightning fast alongside the geary bar there. At the moment, it's beating the electronic scoreboard, but there is a bit more information on the electronic. Drummond's very much getting into the spirit of things at the moment as Hull over the wicket to Lees. Bowls short, slower delivery though. Waited for it, Lees on the back foot, and just sort of paddle pulled it around the corner down towards Ian Holland, who is in front of the noisier section of the crowd. In fact, the drummers have parked themselves right among the popular sort of seats over there.
Yeah.
So it's all getting very noisy out there, which is good because we won't be able to hear Stench's chants. There's nothing wrong with the chants, they're just so tuneless, it's appalling. 42 for 1 as Hull is into Beddingham short, hooked 6. Well, again, you know, when the two men out are in that sort of neck of the woods, then Hull probably feels it has to bowl a straight line, but that was a little bit too leg side, and Beddingham is such a good nick. He stands absolutely still at the crease, Beddingham, with his bat held very high. And at the moment, you have to say his technique is working for him spectacularly. He moves on to 7. Just pick that up nonchalantly. Hull's bowling sort of mid-80s, sort of sometimes perhaps sort of late 80s, but Beddingham saw that all the way. It sat up nicely, and he just helped it over the ropes at long leg for 6. Hull in. Bowls. Fuller down the leg side. It's going to be 4 more, though, off the pads of Beddingham. Clipped the pads, went obviously to the left hand of Cox, flung himself to his left, couldn't get there, runs down to fine leg. And the runs flowing for Durham in this final over of the power play. They brought up the 50, 52 for 1. And there is still one ball to go in the power play. Leicestershire's power play yielded 51 for 2. Durham's at the moment 52 for 1. We said it was going to go the distance this game, and it does feel like it, but as I say, this is a crucial partnership. Hull into Beddingham, outside off stump, little bit short, pushed out into the offside. Mulder picks up, throws at the stumps, misses them, thinking about a second. Beddingham, confusion. Beddingham actually did take a couple of steps down the wicket. Lees responded and realised there was no chance whatsoever because the ball had quickly been fielded, and as a consequence he gets back into his ground. End of the power play, 53 for 1, nothing in it.
Well, I'd say Durham slightly ahead. They're up with the run rate, and they're ahead of the Duckworth-Lewis par, which is 45 at the moment. So 124 to win for Durham in 14 overs, which will be 84 balls. So this game very much in the balance as Scott Curry comes in to bowl at the pavilion end. Bangor drummers, you can see them, 6 men dressed in orange, and they've got their big drums with them. And behind them the big singers, bringing the atmosphere here at Grace Road on a sunny but chilly evening in June. As Curry is in, he bowls, and that's down the leg side, that'll be a wide. So this one just would have hoped that it glanced him on the legs, but it didn't. Beddingham tried to shuffle across his stump, so a single added. 1, 2, 3 to win now for Durham to get their first win of the T20 Blast.
It's interesting that having started with Louis Kimber in the first 2 games, his gentle off spin, they haven't gone to Kimber at all so far.
I wonder whether they may bring him in the middle overs. Curry again, 2 straight, too much on the leg stump that. That's easy for Beddingham to just whip him away into the leg side, mid wicket fields. 123 to 2 to win, 122 to 25.
Against the left-handed Lees especially, turning it away from the left-hander might have been worth an over, but anyway, they decided not to.
They may bring him in the middle overs, but we'll see. Curry it is, tall man, dark brown hair, starts his run up and then loses his rhythm immediately, so he turns back. I think he was just having a chat with Peter Hanscom actually, which somewhat distracted him. Here is Curry then, up to the wicket. He bowls, slower delivery. That was a nice one from Curry. Saw Lee's eyes light up, but then he very sensibly decided to just push it into the offside. He'd begun to clear his leg out the way to give it a big heave, but in the end he decides to take the single out to cover. 56 for 1, 120 to win.
The first time into the 20s for Lees in the competition this season. 4 and 14 his other scores.
Curry it is, kicks up his heels, he's up to the wicket, he bowls again, that's 2 straight. Full and on his pads. nothing comes of it. I don't know if he's bowling to his field. As it goes out to deep mid-wicket, may well be bowling to a field, or they think that's where they think Beddingham is weakest. But he doesn't look particularly weak. Clipping it to the leg side. 57 for 1, so it's 120 to win now. Apologies, my maths a little bit off there. Curry with the left-handed Lees facing. Bowls, that's a better length, and that's clubbed away for 4. What a shot! Through square cover. That's absolutely clattered that. Fantastic sound off the bat, and it flew away off the middle.
Beautiful timing, wasn't it? Square as well. Left-handers are often so good square on the offside, and Lees, say that big man, timed it to perfection.
61 for 1 then the score, 116 to win. Curry in, bowls, and this time he makes room for himself on the leg side, Lees, and away it goes into the leg side. A single added, 62 for 1, 115 to win.
So no collapse from Durham so far this time.
They batted well of the first 3 in the batting order. Final ball of the 7th over. Curry in, it's down the leg side. It's going to be a wide. Second of the over. And how many have we had of the over already? That will be now 10 off the over. Yeah. With another ball to go. BBC Radio Leicester live T20 action from a bouncing Grace Road. There's Durham trying to chase down 177 to win. There's 63 for 1 as Curry is in. He bowls. That's a better line. Just moving away from Beddingham, and he plays it straight down the pitch to long on. Thrown in by VR Mould. At end of the over, then 11 from it, and they're now ahead of the run rate are Durham. They're 64 for 1 off 7 overs. So with 78 balls left, they require 113. I think we're into the territory now, Richard, of Leicestershire. They're needing wickets. They're needing them soon.
Yeah, they do. They'll feel, I think, that Durham don't bat quite as deep as they themselves do, and they feel if they can get a breakthrough, and maybe Rehan Ahmed can work the oracle for them, that they can pick up a couple quickly, as Durham did in the middle overs. Remember, Leicestershire went from, what was it, 51 for 1 to 106 for 6 for recovering a little bit. Ahmed is in from the Bennett end, bowls out to Beddingham, who goes back, tries to cut it away through the offside. It skids on to him a little bit and comes off the bottom edge, bounces out towards Hanscom, who's at extra cover. Ahmed is in, bowls. That one is a conventional leg spinner that started just outside off stump, span away and cut away by Beddingham out to backward point. Holland, the fielder, backward point on the boundary, that is, so comfortable single taken. Of course, with this left-hand, right-hand combination, every time there's a single, there's a general post in the outfield. Everybody has to move happily. They all seem to know where they're going. Lees looks around him, makes sure everybody's in position. Ahmed is in, bowls to him, a little bit short. He goes back and pulls it out towards deep mid-wicket. Hits it rather down into the ground, though, so doesn't make it across the boundary. Just 2 to Lees. He moves on to 29, though, off 20. Skipper, 67 for 1.
Souter, 3 for 23, which will give Leicestershire hope.
Gave it a bit more air than Rehan is giving it at the moment. And he goes, that's a bit more air. And he tries the reverse sweep. Doesn't get anything on it. Reverse scoop almost. Lees, and it doesn't miss. Lees is off stump by very much at all. Cox takes the ball, takes off the bails, but Lees was in his ground. In goes Ahmed, bowls outside off stump, stays down a little bit, taken by Cox, offers the ball to the stumps as Lees misses his attempted chop away through the offside.
That was a quicker, flatter one.
Ahmed points to the offside, and Budinger, who was at backward point, now goes into the covers. The man who was sweeping on the offside boundary now goes to deep backward point instead. Ahmed spins the ball from hand to hand before running in and bowling. Lees is going for the reverse sweep again, takes it right off the stumps, doesn't get it at all out of the middle. It bounces gently out into the offside. Patel runs round to field. Lees does pick up a single, however, but a pretty good over from Ahmed. He just conceded 4 runs from it. And Leicestershire needed that. They needed just to get a little bit of control back on the scoreboard, and they'll feel that. The pressure immediately mounts because the rate required, which was well up with the run rate, it's now below it. Run rate is 8.5, rate required is 9.1. 9 wickets in hand. Durham won't be worried in that respect, but it's just a little bit of extra pressure starting.
109 to win for Durham to win this T20 game as the sun begins to set to our right hand side. There's a shadows lengthen across the Uptonsteel county ground. Ben Mike it is to bowl from the pavilion end. A slower delivery first up and well disguised from the Leicestershire Academy product. 9 runs off his first over for Ben Mike, and a single is taken from the first delivery, clicked into the leg side where it was. So 69 for 1 the score, 108 to win. The run rate is up at 9.1.
Rate required is 9.1. They're at 8.4.
Yeah, I got.
But DLS is comfy.
As Mike is in, he bowls down the leg side again. We've had so many of them, 5 or 6 of those probably already. Yes, I put my teeth in and properly explain that. As you were saying, the run rate that Durham are actually going at is 8.5. The required run rate at 9 and over. But as you say, the Duckworth-Lewis at 60. So they are well ahead of it. Mike runs in now, bowls. That's a better line on middle stump this time, and it's clipped away into the leg side where a single will be taken to deep mid wicket. 71 for 1, 106 to win. Was it a red kite flying around earlier, Richard?
There was. Beautiful. It's not the first time this season that they've started to appear above the county ground, giving a few pigeons heart attacks, I would imagine.
There's Mike. Runs in, bowls. Oh, that's hit him on the pad. A strangled appeal for leg before wicket. Nothing is given. It must have been going down the leg side. May well have been over the top as well. The umpire signals for a leg bye as the ball dribbles into the leg side behind the square. 72 for 1. So I'm not ornithologically minded. They're a big bird. Are they rare around here? Big bird of prey?
They are over Leicester. There's a lot across to the east, above Rutland Water and in the woods around Wakeley and things like that. But they haven't drifted across the city very often. But they're starting to.
Mike. Up to the wicket. Oh, that's a horrible ball down the leg side. That's a definite wide. So another freebie. Is that the second from the over? I'm not overly ornithologically minded. Not a big fan of birds. Don't say anything. 73 for 1.
Sniggers around the commentary box.
Mike then, we've still got 3 balls left in the over, 104 to win. Oh, that's another one down the leg side. Is he trying to find a Yorker on leg stump line, I would guess, but this is going to be, what, a 9 ball over this is.
Well, if there aren't any more, 3 legitimate deliveries so far out of 6 times. Just can't keep doing this.
74 for 1. With Bedingham 13 not out, Lees 31. And this just takes all the pressure off. As Mike runs in now, he bowls, and again that's a better line this time. Back of a length slightly, good bit of bounce, and so that tucks Bedingham up. But the thing is, what they've got 6 off the over already, 3 of them coming in wide, and so it's just a that can take the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike Tallman holds the ball in his right hand, puts his fingers over the seam of the ball and past the umpire he bowls. And Bedingham goes for a massive heave towards cow corner, but doesn't connect, gets a thick inside edge which squirts away down to deep backward square leg, and so it's 102 to win now. 75 for 1. 1 ball left in the 9th over. Where were Leicestershire after 9 overs? They were 76 for 3. So possibly level pegging in terms of the score, but the wickets give them a big helping hand, do Durham, and the ball from Mike. The final ball of the over is full on a middle stump line. Forward goes Lees and clips it through. Mike is not happy with that over. I can understand why. 3 wides from it, 3 wides in it, and 10 off it.
77 are we on? 9, I beg your pardon.
So, sorry, yes. 9 off it. And then you take the wides off it. Take the wides off it. It's a good over.
Yeah, exactly that.
Well, BBC Radio Leicester. Leicestershire defending 177.
Tempting to do so, but then they're at the stage now where they need a wicket or 2. Rehan Ahmed steps in from the Bennett end and bowls to Beddingham, who carves it away over extra cover into the covers in front of the electronic scoreboard for 4. Nicely hit. It's not a really big spinner of the ball, Ahmed. He does have a googly, but not in the same way that Nathan Souter does. Tosses the ball from hand to hand.
It's almost a stock ball, the googly for Souter, isn't it?
Bowls, gives it some air, very full, waits for it, Beddingham, and jams it out rather into the offside where Hanscom is the fielder. So far this season, Ahmed, in he goes, and bowls a full toss, waits for it again, Beddingham, and clips it, really, rather than drives it out too long on, takes 1. He didn't take a wicket against Yorkshire here, 4 overs, none for 32. Did pick up a wicket in the defeat to Derbyshire, 3 overs, 1 for 32 against Derby. So hasn't had the greatest start to the competition with the ball. In he comes, bowls to Alex Lees, quicker delivery, flatter delivery. Lees goes back, works it out to mid-wicket. There's definitely 2 there. Beddingham is quick between the wickets, and indeed 2 taken at the moment. These 2 making what we anticipated would be a difficult chase look fairly straightforward. 84 for 1 coming up to the halfway point. Ahmed bowls, a bit ugly from Lees. He went back and it was a foolish, nicely looping delivery from Ahmed. Looked to drive it and ended up rather sort of clothing it and skewing it in an ugly fashion out towards long on. Takes 1, moves on to 36. Beddingham waits for long off to get back into position. Scott Curry out there. Ahmed bowls. Beddingham goes back. Straight ball worked out towards long on. In comes Mulder. 1 is taken. End of the over. 85 for 1. So 8 runs from the over. 8 runs from the over, 86 for 1, so even 9 runs from the over, get there in the end. Ahmed, none for 13 from 2, but he hasn't looked dangerous, and that's the concern.
It's been relatively economical, but as you say, he hasn't looked particularly threatening in the same way.
Souter looked like he was almost going to take a wicket every ball with some of those googlies, and hasn't been the same.
It feels a bit tepid from a Leicestershire perspective at the moment. Durham, though, cantering to this right now. Lees looks very settled. Beddingham looks remarkably comfortable out there. Looks like a man in form. That's Curry, 32 on his back, will bowl his second over. 11 off the first, he's in. That's 2 straight, and that's pulled around the corner for 4 runs. Down towards the covers. And if Leicestershire have made an error so far, they've just bowled 2 straight. They've bowled too much on the leg stump line. They've not got their lengths right, and they've been easy pickings. There's been 1 or 2 deliveries every over that have just been easy pickings. 90 for 1 now, 87 to win for Durham to win this game. Leicestershire need wickets. They do. Level with the required run rate, well ahead of the DLS as Curry is in. He bowls, that's a lovely shot down the ground. It's going to go straight to Hanscom, who spills it slightly. They run through for a single as a result of it. It was hit very hard, I think just bobbled before Hanscom at mid-off. So 91 for 1, 86 to win, 9.4 overs to go. As it stands, Durham will waltz to their first victory. That'll be a big blow for Leicestershire on this Friday night. Curry runs away from us now. He bowls. It's hit high in the air. Is this going to be caught by Mulder? Oh, I thought he caught it. He got one hand to it, and it was going to be catch of the season from Vian Mulder, but I think just as he landed, it fell out of his hands. What an attempt from Vian Mulder. And that may have been a game changer. As it is, a single added to the total. Lees moves on to 37, 92 for 1.
Yeah. If anybody on the left side was going to catch that, you backed Mulder, and he got there, couldn't quite hang on.
Got his hands on it too. Curry in, bowls to the right-handed Beddingham, who gets a leading edge out into the offside. It goes behind square, and they'll run through for 2 there, have they? Yeah, good running.
Easily.
It was so comfortable, I almost couldn't believe it was a 2. So I was watching the field, I couldn't believe they'd scampered through so quickly. So 94 for 1, 83 to win. It's a long way to go in this competition, and Leicestershire would by no means be the first to have qualified, having just won one of their first 3, but early games so important in setting the tone, getting momentum. This would be a huge win for Durham, who lost their first 2. In comes Curry, bowls, that's drilled hard through cover. That's going to run away for 4. What a shot from Beddingham. Onto it quickly. Textbook cover drive, really. Latching onto that wonderfully. And listen to the silence around Grace Road, because their team are under a lot of pressure at the moment. Leicestershire don't seem to have the answers. 98 for 1, 9.1 overs to go, and they need 79 to win. Curry then, final ball of the over. In he comes, slower delivery, full on leg stump, guided away into the leg side, and then just get a single. So Beddingham will keep the strike. He's got on to 32 now, with no real troubles at all. And Lee's 37 at the other end. This partnership now will be worth, what, a good
34 when they came together.
So 65. There you go, there's some
Maths on
quality maths for you.
If I've learnt one thing over the last maths on the hoof is not to be encouraged.
Yeah.
Certainly Durham now have got themselves into a position of strong favourites, maybe 85%, something like that you would suggest, with 9 wickets in hand, 78 needed. Ahmed is in 2. Beddingham is almost a brilliant return catch by Ahmed. He drills it back at the youngster, the 19-year-old, flung out his right hand like Mulder before him. He got his right hand to it, gets a pat on the back from Neil Mallender, because he probably saved Neil Mallander's life there, and he almost clung on to what would have been an incredible catch. Back goes Beddingham to the next delivery and just works it normally out towards deep mid-wicket and takes one. But it's that sort of moment that Leicestershire need, really, almost a miracle catch, something to happen out of nothing, and Mulder nearly did it, and then Ahmed nearly did it. Neither could quite hang on. Pat on the back for Vian and for Rahan. Rahan is in, bowls, back goes Lees, works the delivery out towards long gone, takes 1. That previous single from Beddingham brought up the Durham 100, of course. Now he's almost caught up with Lees. Beddingham 33 off 25, Lees 38 off 30. They're judging it nicely, these two, at the moment. Ahmed into Beddingham, who's forward, respectfully defending the delivery off stump, back up the pitch to the young Leicestershire and England all-rounder. Duckworth Lewis 88, they're miles ahead as Beddingham swings that one on the bounce out towards wide-ish long on. Mulder runs round to field and 1 is taken. Beddingham on to 34, 102 for 1.
Just 3 off the over.
Ahmed is in. Lees is not bowled. How has that gone through and not hit anything either? He went for the sweep, reaching out across leg stump. He missed it, went through onto the pads of Cox, and that was a really good over from Ahmed. It was threatening and very nearly made the breakthrough. It didn't happen, though, for the Foxes. Again, just the 3 from it, which is good from Leicestershire's point of view, but Durham have runs, and more to the point also at the moment, wickets in hand. 102 for 1 off 12, 75 needed off 8. How did that not
It was the
dribble onto
googly,
leg
I
stump.
think, and just moved away. So it was perfectly pitched on an off-stump line and moved away.
Somehow got through everything.
Lovely delivery from Rahan Ahmed. That was a really good over from the England international. That was the first time he's got the batsman to slightly to make mistakes and make them slightly wince.
Yeah, looked vulnerable for the first time, didn't they? But
now, what can Vian Mulder do? 8 runs from his 2 overs so far and a wicket. First ball is hit for a massive 6. Down and a wide long on. That was a huge sort of baseball style heave on the leg side. And that is a horrible start to the over for Leicestershire. Fantastic from Durham. They needed a big blow like that, I'd say, Durham. And Beddingham moves on to 40 from 28. How fortunate Durham, by the way, to be able to bring in the informed man in the county championship into your team.
they could have played the first 2, but it meant they had to drop one of their overseas. They've bitten the bullet and done that this time, but
yeah, Dorsh's missing out as Mulder is in, and that's again full delivery on leg stump and whipped away square of the wicket on the leg side. So 109 for 1. They need 69 to win off 7.4 overs, so 45 balls. Lee's 38, Beddingham 41. It just doesn't look like a way through, and there are 2 really tough catches that Leicestershire have dropped. They would have been fantastic if it had taken, but if it's your day, you take them, don't they? They fall into your hands. Mulder in, bowls down the ground. Hit my sound on the bat. They're going to try and stop the 2, but they won't. Hanscom and Rahan Ahmed converging. It's Hanscom who throws it, and they come through 4-2. So 8 off the over already. 3 balls to go. The Duckworth-Lewis at 97. So they are well ahead of it. Leicestershire need wickets and soon. We've got so much batting to come, so much time. They've got a lot of freedom, so little pressure on these 2 at the moment. The left-handed Lees bunts a full toss down the ground. Hanscom will field the long barrier out in force as he throws it back, and a single is taken. 112 for 1, 65 to win. They're coasting there, aren't they, Richard?
yeah, not having to take any real risks. If they can stay together, they'll be thinking in the changing room for another 2 or 3 overs, then the game will be close to being won.
Hanscom with his hands on his knees. The fielder's out then, a deep backward point. 3rd man. Deep backward square leg and mid-wicket. In comes Mulder, and that is hit. Fired out towards that man at deep backward square leg who has to run square of the wicket to throw it in. Oh, there's a bit of a mix-up there. Ben Cox nearly stumbled, nearly ran into the wickets, and then who was that? It was Sol Budinger who nearly tripped over.
Cox was looking right into the sun there. It's
Yeah.
very low now over the meat, and that's where the throw came from. In front thereof.
I have to say, with Leicestershire trying to defend 177, I didn't see it being this comfortable.
No.
Durham have batted really, really well. Lee's 41 not out. The left-hander waits and plays this down the ground, nicely timed once more. And Hanscom fields with the long barrier. So an expensive over for Leicestershire. That first ball 6 just immediately took the pressure off the batter. So Beddingham 42, Lee's 42, and 12 off the over. Durham cantering towards their first victory in the T20 Blast. They need 63 to win from 42 balls.
Leicestershire, after 13, were 100 for 4. They recovered from that point, but they had to be a little bit careful in terms of wickets in hand. Well, not from that point. They did lose another couple of wickets, but well, they need a wicket in this over from Rahan Ahmed. It's his last. Goes in and bowls to Lisu out too long on. It's going to bounce short of Mulder out there. In fact, it's Curry out there in front of the green seats in front of the Mike Turner Indoor Centre. 1 taken. This as well for Alex Lees. He didn't get all of that. He moves on to 43. Beddingham on 42. Cox tells Curry to go a bit straighter as Ahmed is in. Waits. Beddingham, and then on drives off the back foot, really, almost out towards Mulder, who is at long gone. Mulder, specialist long on, so to speak. Curry has become the specialist long off. Ahmed is in to Lees, on to the legs. Lees just checks the on drive, pushes it out towards mid-wicket, takes one. Singles off the first 3 balls of the over so far. Again, Ahmed proving hard to get away. I just wonder whether Leicester might have to gamble and give Kimber an over or two, just see if they can almost buy a wicket. In goes Ahmed, bowls. Quicker, flatter delivery, pulled out to mid-wicket and caught. Brilliantly caught running in by Louis Kimber. That's an outstanding catch because he was very low when he got there. Just managed to get his hands underneath the ball. Well, they've missed 2 very, very, very hard chances, but they have finally taken one, and that could be the key.
The door opens the tiniest little bit, and as you say, that was a fabulous catch. It's so hard when you're running in straight. He's looking into the sun as well, that's the other thing. And to dive forward while you're still moving and collect, fabulous catch. And that just opens the door. That they're still behind the run rate, but the Duckworth Lewis they're still well ahead of. But if they can just slow things up as Ashton Turner comes to the crease. Regular T20 player, overseas player.
43 for David Beddingham, more than justifying his introduction into the side.
It's a great knock. I think really he was trying to up the ante, wasn't he? I think he was trying to.
Almost didn't need to in a way. That said, the rate required is still 9.5. Leicestershire got enough to keep up pressure throughout the innings, but they do need to keep nibbling away. Ahmed in to Turner, who goes back and turns it out towards mid-wicket. Should be 2 because it's a long run in for Kimber. He gets there and throws, nice sideways throw, but Turner belatedly introduced to the crowd by the PA, makes 1 into 2 comfortably enough. 119 for 2. Tall man with a sort of lolloping stride, Ashton Turner. Ahmed is in to him, he goes back, pokes it out towards backward point where Budinger is the fielder, but Turner picks up a comfortable 1. End of Ahmed's over, end of his spell indeed. 1 for 22 from 4. Good effort from the young all-rounder. 120 for 2 after 14 means 57 now needed off 6 overs. If that was club cricket and you were bowling, you'd be thinking, yeah, we've got them here.
Yeah.
They're never going to get anywhere near that. Different game at this level.
It's 1 over. If Durham get 1 big over, a 15-20, then the game will probably be gone. But with 6 overs to go and 57 the target, the Fox is certainly within a hope. They need a couple of quick wickets to really bring themselves back into it.
Let's hope from Leicestershire's point of view it is 6 overs and not plus X how many wides. But
Ben Mike to bowl from the pavilion end. He runs away from us. The required run rate 9.5. His first delivery is on that leg stump line again. They bowled too much in that area today, Leicestershire. They get a single out to deep mid wicket. Peter Hanscom is there, the captain, to field. Turner onto 4. Lees on 44 at the other end. If they can get Lees, then this game will hinge and change.
1 and 17 in his 2 innings for Ashton Turner so far in this competition.
It's the left-handed Lees to face though. 44 of 36. In comes Ben Mike. He bowls a slower bouncer, which is carted out towards Ahmed. He's well fielded, really well fielded. He ran in a few yards from the deep mid-wicket boundary and caught it on the slide. So that was pulled around the corner pretty hard from Lees. He's on to 45. 1-2-2 for 2. 55 to win. It's a pleasant evening. It's just a shame it's not warmer. Desperate for a warm day.
We've said that a few times this season, haven't we? Desperate for a warm day.
Want to get them prescription sunglasses out. In comes Mike, bowls on that leg stump line again. It's too straight. And it's just played down the ground for a single. They're going to come back for the 2 because there's a misfield out there, deep backward square. And Turner moves on to 8.
Holland, I think it is.
Just couldn't get the ball in his hands, could he? And quick to it, the batsman out there. 1-2-4 for 2. 53 to win. Off 5.5 overs. Mike to the right-handed turner. In he comes, bowls, and that hits him on the hips and bounces out high into the leg side behind square. Leg bye is given, the umpire. Brings his leg up and taps it. The field changes to the left-handed Lees. We've got a long on. Deep mid-wicket, deep backward square leg. Deep extra cover. And a fine leg, so 4 men out on the leg side. There's Mike, runs in now, away from us. He bowls into the pitch, and back goes Lees, pulling this straight. Hanscom fields, they run through for 2. It's well run by this pair. And the score 1-2-7 for 2.
Exactly 50 then from 5 overs and 1 delivery.
Crowd have picked up a little bit. This is the key moment in the game. Final ball of the over. Short, Mike goes against a pretty decent ball from Lees. All he can do is play it down the ground. And so the score moves to 128 for 2. So 49 off the final 5 overs. They basically just need to go to 10 and over and they will get home. But Leicester, you just feel they're just creaking their way back into the game. But they need to get Lees out if they are to do it. It's a fascinating end.
It could be yet. Josh Holt yet to pick up a wicket in the game so far. Looking to have an impact. Can the young giant do for the Foxes from the Bennett end? Down the slope to Alex Lees.
Leicester at this stage 119 for 6. Sorry, Richard.
Taking the time to set the field. It is a bit more split this time, so it doesn't necessarily just have to bowl straight or at the legs. Comes in and bowls to Lees, who steps across, scoops into the air. Could be caught. No, he's gone for 6. It flew over Vian Mulder. I thought it was going to go more or less straight down his throat at long leg, but the extra pace and bounce that Hull offers, well, Lees took full toll basically, stepped across, scooped it on down, helped it on its way over the boundary for 6, and that is 50 for Alex Lees. It's come off 40 deliveries, and captain doing a great job for his side. 134 for 2. Can he finish the job? 43 now needed. Hull is in and bowls, slow ball bouncer outside off stump. Lees, who'd stepped across to the leg side looking to cut it away through the offside, has to just watch really, doesn't even try and hit it. He was so far away from it in the end. So well bowled in a way. Josh Holt, dot ball. But dot balls are not going to win it, I don't think, for Leicestershire now. Rate required, well, they add to the pressure, but it's still 9.2. Hull into his stride, bowls, getting a slower ball, straighter this time, and Lees is deceived. He was looking to pull it, went back, tried to pull it, took his bottom hand off the bat, but really completely fooled by this lack of pace, and it thumps into the body, drops out into the offside. 1 leg by is taken, so again good from Hull, coming back well from conceding that 6 off the first ball. What will Turner, West Australian, make of him? Looks around him, sees the leg side field all scattered to the boundary, so only Hanscom saving one at mid-on on the leg side. In goes Hull, bowls onto the leg side, pulled around the corner by Turner. He's picked out Mike on the deep backward square boundary. 1 is taken. The drummers are backed down below us in front of the pavilion, and that much closer to our effects, Mike. So it's going to get noisy, folks, for a while anyway. 136 for 2, 42.
They've been an enjoyable part of the day, I'd say. Oh, a man's got his top off.
They've added to the atmosphere as the sun sinks away to our right. Hull is into Lees. Quick delivery, thumps into the pads. It's going on down the leg side. That's a decent shout for a run out from Hull, but no, says umpire Lloyd. Lees had quickly got back into his ground. The ball bounced off the stumps And then out into the onside, and the alert Turner called Lees through for the single. So leg by in the end, but I wouldn't mind seeing a replay on that one because Lees was a bit slow getting back into his ground.
Certainly worth a go.
It's,
oh yeah, it wasn't far off. He was in. He did get his bat down.
In, hadn't he? Yeah. Umpire Lloyd, perfectly correct as always.
Clever thinking from the batsman as well to run 2.
Hole then into the right-handed Turner is in. Turner gets a delivery on middle and leg that he can turn away off the length down towards deep backward square. Mike overthrows Cox by a long way, but Rahan Ahmed had backed up, so single taken to finish the over. 138 for 2, so 10 from that hole over. 177 the target, remember. 4 overs remain. You'd still, Durham would probably win this 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Massive favourites. They need, I'd say Leicestershire need 2-3 wickets in the next 2 overs to make it interesting. With Lees in, Durham have got a remarkably heavy favourites to win. 39 to win then.
Still 10 and over, isn't it? 39 off 4. But yeah, with 8 wickets in hand. A First Division county.
Wickets and dot balls will do it. Curry to bowl, 24 of his 2 overs. He's in, bowls a slower delivery that cuts in off the seam. And they scamper through for a single. Turner playing it out into the offside. 139 for 2, 38 to win of 23. Yeah, those Bangor drummers right in the middle of the gentleman over on the right-hand side. Yes. Some man who'd taken his top off and was swinging it around his head a moment ago. Bit chilly for that.
Ooh, I see him now. Yeah.
Curry is in to the left-handed Rees, who's batting on off stump, and that's down the leg side from Curry.
So an extra over, Leicester have bowled now.
Lee's batting so far across his stumps, that line probably would have crunched into his pads, but it was down the leg side, and so he's a wide. I mean, look, he's almost batting outside off stump, Lees. All the men out on the leg side. As Curry in, bowls. That's a horrible hoik across the line from Lees, but he just about gets enough on it. Thick inside edge, takes a single out to deep mid-wicket. 141 for 2. 4 balls left in this over, the 16th. 36 to win. It's the orange skies around us. Curry, all in green. Past the umpire now. He bowls. It's a good slow ball, that. Gets Turner. Well, he was through the shot before it reached him, and having to reach outside off stump to try and get anything on it. Dot ball, 141 for 2. The required run rate, 10.3. But this is the point in the innings where people can so easily accelerate. You've got a power hitter in Turner at one end. There's very little pressure on the 2 batsmen at the moment. 141 for 2. Curry in, slower bouncer outside off stump. Turner pulls it round to deep mid-wicket.
But a single is a win, isn't it, for Leicester in a way? Just pushes up that run rate by a fraction.
Single is okay if he can just build the pressure in terms of runs on Lees. That's okay. This is the point where boundaries are needed. 2 balls to go, sorry.
Got to come out of this over strong, Curry, now.
How many off it so far? Just the 4. Curry runs away from us. He's up to the wicket. He bowls, and it's hit high in the air. Now, is this going to be a catch or is it going to be a 6? It's 6. 6 crashes into the advertising hoardings straight down the ground. That's a massive hit. That may well be the decisive hit from a Durham perspective. It's been a brilliant innings from Lees, and he continues to push Durham towards victory. Half volley length, just moved his front leg out the way.
So strong. He had to kind of reach for it a bit and still muscled it over the ropes.
148 for 2, 29 to win then. As Curry's in, bowls, this one's down the ground. That's a better line, just swinging in a little bit. That's why he only gets a single off that one and got the 6 from the one before. Similar sort of length. 148 for 2 then, and what looked like a promising over has turned into an expensive one. 11 off it. So Durham require 28 to win off 3 overs, so the required run rate down to 9.3. That has totally shifted. That 6, that's totally shifted. The feeling inside the ground, the chances of Leicestershire being able to hang on, that's a huge 6, metaphorically and literally from Alex Lees.
28 off 3 then for Durham. Shouldn't exactly get a canter from here, but they'll be keen not to let it go to sort of too late into the final over, preferably into the end of the 19th, something like that. Mike is in, bowls, whipped high over mid-wicket for another 6, I think. No, just short of the ropes. Brilliant running stop by Holland, leaping to his right as it bounced. Somehow neither of them able to get there. Umpire Malander looks for confirmation, but Holland running along the ropes in front of the popular seat, sort of jumped to his right, managed to knock the ball down as it bounced up. And just the 2 then to Lees, moves on to 64, brings up the 150 for Durham. 151 for 2, 26 off 2.5.
Had a couple of them today, Leicestershire. Durham have been comfortably the better side, but there have been a few moments where just the ball has evaded the fielders and difficult chances put down.
Mike is in, bowls to Lees, good Yorker, dug out, driven out to mid-off, just the single on that occasion. So 25 off 16 is the precise equation now. Could still go wrong for Durham. It shouldn't. But if Leicestershire can bowl rather better than Pakistan did against the USA yesterday in the final overs, then you never quite know. The game is not lost yet for the Foxes.
Just moving the field around, aren't they, out there?
Again, no close fielders on the leg side except Kimber, who's just about at square leg as Mike is in to Turner, who smashes it for a straight 6, no, just a 4 over long off. Long off was up on the edge of the circle, Curry, and Mike put it out there, and Turner just sort of took half a step forward and smacked it straight and long and high, just short of the ropes at long off. 4. Twiddles the bat in his hand because, well, that could, in fact, it was a full toss from Ben Mike in the end. In he comes, bowls again to Turner, almost another full toss. This time it was fuller though. Yorker length jammed out by Turner to Curry at mid-off. That's what Mike presumably was trying to do before.
It's a much better Yorker. Hit right on the toe of the bat, sends shivers up your bat, up your arm.
Damage has been done, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, that 4 and the 6 in the previous over. I think the 6 in the previous over. It was the 6 what won it.
To Lees comes Mike, bowls outside off stump, carved away by Alex Lees, almost conventionally in the end out towards the man sweeping on the cover boundary, and 1 is taken. 19 off 13 balls. Looks like it's going to go to the last over, as it did at Edgbaston against Derby 5 days ago. Leicestershire not able to defend 176 there, and they're struggling to do so again here.
Questions asked about the bowling at the start of the T20. What do you think, Richard?
Yeah, that's what we thought, wasn't it, really? I mean, they looked a good batting side, but the question was whether they could restrict. Mike is in to Turner, slower ball outside off stump, and he can't get anything on it. Fumbled by Cox, but he recovers in time to prevent any buys. So dot ball to finish the over from Ben Mike. 158 for 2, so 9 from the over. 12 balls remain. 19 needed to win the game from those 12 balls.
19, yes, 19 off 12. It's
not a done deal.
It's not
quite,
a done deal.
Is it?
like what happened, it's identical to what happened at Derbyshire pretty much, isn't it, last week? And then there was a 6 right at the end of the over. Leicestershire cannot afford a big again. 6. If Durham get a big boundary here, that's them home and dry. Curry it is to bowl. A full delivery on an off-stump line. Down the pitch goes Lees and drills it too long on. A single's taken.
6 of those would do.
6 of those would do very nicely indeed. That would mean that it would be 13 off the final over, which is very defendable. 18 off 11 for Durham. Have we got a thrilling finish ahead? It's just... Leicestershire are going to have to bowl so well to put it on, to put us on tenterhooks. Peter Hanscom is screaming at the man at out to deep backward square leg to come in. He's doing a change of right hand and left hand. There's the motorbikes ticking off your bingo card. Curry in, bowls hit high in the air. That's going to go for 6, I think. There it is, I think. There's the victory for Durham. They haven't sealed it yet, but it was a full delivery and Turner just latched onto it and heaved it down the ground for a big 6. Hanscom not able to get to it. That means it is 12 off 10 for the visitors. And bar the most remarkable of bowling feats here, I have a feeling they'll be able to chalk those off. Great shot from Turner. 21 off 14 he is now.
Though, wouldn't it? Could get underneath it.
Curry in, bowls a slower delivery on a leg stump line. They go for a quick single and they get it. 11 off 9. And I mean, that 6 has come earlier in the penultimate over than it did against Derbyshire. But it's the same old tale, really. The batsmen, they bat deep enough to get them out of trouble. Leicestershire.
Just in the replay was absolutely in the slot for him. Absolutely.
It was in the slot. Lees again batting on sort of off stump as Curry comes in, running away from us at the pavilion end. He's up to the wicket, he bowls, and that's a better length, just dragged back from that length that's in the slot. And so all that Lees can do is play it across the line down to mid-wicket, and a single is taken. So 10 off 8. But it's a near identical story, isn't it, that Leicestershire just...
It is.
They're sort of in it, but not in it the whole time. That's how it's felt, certainly in the last 2/3 of this innings. Curry in, bowls, bowled him! What a cracker from Curry. He's dismissed Turner, and it rattles his off stump down into the ground. So a 3rd wicket falls, Turner has to depart, and that may be too little too late, and Curry didn't even celebrate. He's just walked straight back to his mark. Turner goes for 22, 167 for 3. I guess most importantly, Richard, it's a top ball.
Yeah, well, almost more importantly, I mean, the new man might struggle a little bit more than Ashley Turner certainly has, but well, Leicestershire will think we've still got a slugger's chance, so to speak.
Well, new man in, first ball.
10 off 7 then?
10 off 7, new man in, first ball. If it's a dot, if it's a good ball from Curry this, then 10 is defendable.
You would think that they'd be happy enough to keep it out, really, or taking one, but we shall see. Ollie Robinson comes to the crease.
Bangor drummers right below us now. I'll just turn the effects microphone down. They've been a great addition. I've loved having them here today. So then, final ball of this over. Robinson to face. Curry takes a few steps forward, but he's not quite ready. I didn't think the field was set. So here he comes in now. Kicks up his heels, he bowls, it's a good Yorker down into the ground. It's gone for 4 off the bottom of his bat and goes so fine. He didn't know much about that, Robinson, but that has probably sealed the deal for Durham as it squirts so fine down on the offside for 4 runs. Oh, it's a really good ball from Curry. 4 from that final ball, so they need 6 from the final over, Durham, if they are to seal victory, and they should be able to do that. 171 for 3. Robinson 4, Lee 68. They need 6 off 6 to reach 177.
Yeah, 13 off the over, and Scott Curry, you know, unlucky in parts, but bottom line, conceded 48 from his 4 overs.
Yep.
Picked up that 1 wicket of Ashton Turner, but probably too little and almost certainly too late. Well, Vian Mulder gets the doubtful privilege of bowling the final over. Well, if Mulder can defend 6 to win. He really will seal himself into the affections of the Leicestershire supporters. In he comes and bowls to Lees. Good Yorker dug out by Lees. Mulder's going to have to chase it himself. They're going to make 1 into 2. Overthrow from Mulder to Cox. Patel backs up and 2 taken. So Lees on to 70, 173 for 3, 4 to win off 5 balls.
Lees has played brilliantly, must give him credit. 70 off 52, he's been he's played so fantastically, and he's been sort of simultaneously the main aggressor, but also he's been the anchor for the whole innings, which has meant there's been consistent pace throughout it. Fabulous knock. This is a real shot in the arm for Durham.
Mulder is in, bowls another Yorker, played, or attempted Yorker, but onto the legs of Lees, played very conventionally and calmly out to deep mid-wicket. Ahmed fields. 1 is taken. Crowd beginning to sort of head for the gates now. They decided all is pretty much lost as far as the Foxes are concerned. 2 to tie, 3 to win, 4 balls remain. Hanscom hasn't given up. He's talking to Mulder. Where are you going to bowl this one? Where do you want to bowl? He's got the new man on strike. It's got to be wickets though. A couple of wickets if he can get through Mulder and keep Lees off strike. 71 not out for Alex Lees off 53 balls, but he's standing at the non-striker's end at the moment.
They're just a nick away, aren't they? That's the problem. They're an edge down to with fine leg and third man up. They're an edge away from it. 1 boundary, 1 hit.
It's a long discussion between Messrs Hanscom and Mulder. Neil Mallender not looking over impressed, turns to the two of them, but Leicester have met the cut-off time, obviously, so it has to be at the start of the final over, and they certainly met that, so you can take as long as you want, I suppose, once you've done that, can't you, in the final
yes.
over, if you really want. The result of the long conversation is that Rishi Patel goes down to long leg, so mid-off is up on the edge of the circle. Mulder is in, bowls, turned by Robinson down to third man, 4-4, and Durham have won. They are off the mark in the competition after 2 awful defeats. They've produced a really good, solid performance here at Grace Road against a very disappointed Leicestershire side, who for the 2nd game in succession have not been able to defend a score of 176. Bowling not quite strong enough as far as the Foxes are concerned. They didn't make any of the egregious errors that they made against Derby in terms of drops. The 2 that did go down were horrendously difficult chances in this particular game. You have to say very well played Alex Lees and David Beddingham, very well bowled Nathan Souter. Well played Durham, you're up and running, and it confirms what we thought. Anyone can beat anyone in the North Group.
Yeah, you say without the egregious errors, you're right that they weren't quite as egregious, but if you make that 2 or 3 wides rather than what 7 or 8, then Durham still need 3 or 4 to win off the final 3 balls. Easy and quite irritating counterfactual to say that from up in here in the commentary box. However, I think that is still the issue. Jack, Leicestershire felt in that, but never in that the whole time. Durham were always well ahead, always felt comfortable enough, and that was what was so frustrating, I think. And now that's 2 defeats in 3. What started off so positively will now make people feel a little bit nervy.
Adam Whitty, Richard Ray, as you say, 2 defeats out of 3, and I suppose, Richard, as Adam was saying there, the frustration is sort of a similar feeling to Saturday against Derbyshire.
Very, very similar, almost sort of identical, the 2 games in the way they happened, really, and it confirms excuse me, what we thought at the sort of start of the season. They look to have a very strong batting lineup that's dug them out of trouble twice. They've got themselves into trouble twice and then posted a very challenging score, but on both occasions were unable to defend it. You have to look also I think at the top of the order, really, to get it looks like we're going to be the sort of side that's not going to need 170 to win the game. They might need 190, 200 to win the game, and then you've got to have your top order firing.
Is that what they'll be learning from these opening games, Adam? We can talk about having a great start and having momentum, but at the end of the day, this team is still needing to learn things about each other. Is that what they're finding out, do you think, in these opening 3 games?
Well, a little bit, but you don't really have time for that in T20. Also, these guys have been together for the first 2 months of the season as well, so I don't know if that's really a good enough excuse. The simple fact of the matter is that they couldn't bowl consistent lines and lengths. They bowled 2 straight today in that innings. Too often they were on the leg stumps of the right-handers, and that meant that it was just too easy. And well, this is the issue they've got. They can dig themselves out of a hole. Their batsmen can dig themselves out of a hole. Their bowlers can't dig themselves out of a hole. When they're in a little bit of trouble, when they're putting under a bit of pressure, they can't find a 2, 3, 4 run over. They can't seem to find someone who's going to get 2 wickets in an over to get them straight back into it. That's the issue, and that's why they're finding themselves struggling a little bit right now, because they can depend on one side of the game, less so the other.
There are some strange decisions, though, Jack, as well, for me. Not picking Lewis Goldsworthy again. They were sort of castigating themselves a bit for not picking him against Derby. We've brought this, we're saying, we really desperately need a left-arm spinner. Managed to find...